welcome to Watch, Review, Repeat. This is the podcast where two best friends go down the road, down the witch's road, and discuss the latest in film and television, and then do it all over again the following episode. My name is Colton Brown. Joining me is Andrew Meadows.
It is I, sir. It is I.
Ah, hello, fellow witch or warlock, Wiccan. I don't know.
Whichever. I'll take it.
Fuck! I tried to think of that James Bond quote, which it wouldn't have applied here.
What?
The puppet of all your dream. No, what?
The author
of all your pain.
Sure.
It is I, the
me.
author of all your pain. That's what I tried to pull. It just fucking failed.
Definitely not me.
It was me, James.
in the wrong franchise.
Well, they've already heard you. It's the third member of the coven, Henrique Jaime. Welcome back to the show. How are you, sir?
Thank you. I'm doing well. I don't have a witch hat, but sometimes that's not how witches do in the modern days.
Sure,
a little bit more hidden.
Yeah,
hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, definitely. I'm wearing black. I feel like that's on brand. I don't know. It wasn't really intentional, in terms of,
does it have a hood?
I was planning on. It does have a hood. I can pull it up.
If you do eyeliner, that counts.
Yeah, you'd look like the main guy if you put some eyeliner on.
This is my teen cosplay. I'm teen right now. It looks very funny with it over there.
It does. It looks like you're wearing a fucking burqa or something.
Good stuff. Great stuff. We're off to a rousing start on this episode. We're talking about Agatha All Along. Or are we talking about Agatha Coven of Chaos? Are we talking about Agatha House of Harkness? Agatha, what was the one that was the good witch with, or the bad witch with great wardrobe or something like that? I don't know. They did some dumb fake title, which was pretty good. No. It is none of those. It is Agatha All Along, the latest Disney Plus Marvel television series. And 9 episodes are up on Disney Plus. We're going to talk about all 9 of them a little bit later. We are kind of returning, I guess, a little bit to the spooky season, even though it is over. I guess it's never truly over.
Is it really? Yeah, exactly.
And especially in
reality, it's always
especially these days. Especially these days, spooky season is 24/7. 24/7, baby. Welcome to the real world. AKA the darkest timeline returns. I'm going to try to put some of those thoughts to the side so that we can talk about fun things in our lives, or at least distract ourselves with, fun things in our lives.
Fun facts.
Fun facts, maybe.
Ooh.
Yeah, we could do that. I thought that's a great idea. Distract me with the fun fact about Agatha All Along, if you please.
So, this is a light spoiler. It's not really going into. I think I can mention it out the front, but the witch in The Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Familiar with Wizard of Oz? Classic tale.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Wicked. It's coming out pretty soon. It's about what she was like before she was all wicked and like.
Yeah, pre-Wicked. She was based on the witch Agatha Harkness.
Oh.
Turns out. So
Wait.
She's been around since the Salem witch trials and survived, and became the inspiration for the Wicked Witch in the West. But in another separate.
Is that? Fact, hold on a second. There is a real Agatha Harkness?
No.
Oh.
No. This is just in Marvel continuity.
Oh, Marvel continuity.
Yeah.
Agatha Harkness is the inspiration. Or is there? I guess we wouldn't know.
Has she been around all along?
You were about to. It's like, what the fuck is? I did not know that. That is a real fun fact.
Yeah,
historical fiction. This television show.
Yeah,
okay.
Depends on which universe.
I mean, I'm sure there has been an Agatha Harkness.
I don't
know.
That's a pretty unique name, though. There's definitely going to be an Agatha Harkness that has been born in the past month or two. I would say. I guarantee it. There's at least one out there.
The resurgence of the Agatha name. But no, I was going to say, in the song that you just teased, which they played quite a bit in this series, I didn't realize.
A motif?
When they came out in, I don't remember if it was D23. I think it was more D23. I don't think it was Comic-Con where the cast came out.
Yeah, they came out and did a performance of it, right?
Song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kitty's character. So they're all like singing it and in character and everything. But then one of the actresses in the show is just kind of like mumbling and stumbling along with the words. And you're like, that's kind of weird. Did she forget the lyrics? But no, that actually seems to be very purposeful based on the show, where the character may not be a witch in her own, or is not really privy to the witch's road. It was kind of just along for the ride. So it seemed like that was a whole bit of a planned event and song where
like with in the performance itself is what you're saying.
In the performance, yeah, at D23.
Okay, I was like, well, yeah, so there's definitely a reason for it in the show.
Yeah, exactly. So then they do that in the performance,
in the actual performance. I see. Wasn't just drunk and mumbling around and like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
Or maybe that's your excuse. You're just like, you don't have to
either way. No. It's canon that I don't know the lyrics to this song.
If you know them, they actually would be worse.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Ballad of the Witch's Road is the name of that song. Which
purely fictional, made-up song, yeah?
Made-up song written by Oscar-winning songwriters Kristen Anderson Lopez and Robert Lopez, who did the original songs for WandaVision and in the Frozen movies as well. I think they worked on, both Frozen.
Aren't all songs made up?
Well, in a way. Unless you steal music from someone else.
Touche, sir.
Arguably,
yes, sure,
arguably you are just plagiarizing, and you usually get sued for that sort of thing. Even if you do like a little, like it's like, no, man, Vanilla Ice sort of thing. It's like, no, I changed the one note, so it's different. It's like I made something. I made it different. It's like, well, did you? I think Queen and David Bowie, rest in peace, might disagree with you, but. Well, I guess rest in peace to one member of Queen as well, but
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a very slight fun fact I can tack on if you guys don't mind, which I think is kind of interesting, and I think maybe we'll sort of set the stage for something that we'll talk about when we get into talking about Agatha All Along, which we will obviously be doing after we get through some headlines and trailers shortly. It is the least expensive Marvel television series ever.
Wow.
Which is kind of interesting. It's 9 episodes, so it's longer than some. Obviously, the episodes are not usually quite, hour long, but they're still longer, I think, than some of the other ones that we've seen. With like the 30-minute design, and it was, I think, reported a total of like a $40 million budget for the whole thing. Which, when you think about something, again, we bring it up time and time again, but something like Secret Invasion that had a $200 to $300 million budget for that entire series, and you think about the difference in like what this show looks like versus what that show looks like, and you're like, where the fuck did all that money go? I mean, obviously Sam Jackson's not cheap, and maybe Ben Mendelsohn's not cheap and stuff like that, but it is kind of just like, what? Jeez. How did that happen? It's a real Joker 2 situation of like, wait, you spent how much money on a courtroom drama that everyone hates? So it's kind of interesting that this is the basically least expensive series, and one, it's very funny to me. So Brad Winderbaum, who's like the head of Marvel Television and animation, said that it was the least expensive show by design. They wanted to make it for a responsible cost, and he basically cited the reason for why it was as cheap as it was is it's mostly practical effects. It's it's minimal CG, way less than we've ever done before, and I think you can feel it in the show. And it's like, well, I guess in one hand you should be applauded for thinking more conscious about the money and where you can spend it and stuff. And it's like, well, I haven't been doing this for a long time. Like, you could make this shit for half as much money and it would look better.
Well, why haven't we been doing that?
It's like, just fucking plan your shit out ahead of time instead of just being like, we'll figure it out later, and like, it's been the same story with obviously the movie side of things, where it's like, they just axe an entire set piece and are like, yeah, we'll redo it in the computer and spit it out in a week, even though the movie comes out in 2 weeks. So it's just kind of goes to show that, even for Marvel, like, you can, I don't know, do things reasonably and, and maybe the execution, really depends on kind of, the level of detail that you put in up front and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I thought that was a really interesting kind of thing, that this is a relatively cheap thing for Marvel. Like I said, I'll be curious to kind of circle back to this, idea of, does this feel like a cheap show? Does it feel like it, noticeably, lacking in terms of those sorts of qualities compared to its other Disney Plus predecessors. I mean, I've sort of already answered that by making the obvious comparison to Secret Invasion, but we'll talk about it. We'll get into that. We'll get into all sorts of things later when we talk about Agatha All Along. But for now, let us turn our attention to some headlines. So there is a theme. I held back a lot of these pieces of news from the last couple times we recorded. It's been a couple weeks since Andrew and I recorded. I feel like we usually try to make that clear. It hasn't been 3 months, hasn't been a week like it was the last time we recorded or anything like that. But it hasn't been too long since we talked about the Wild Robot.
A healthy break. This one's been a
healthy break. Good healthy break. Last week we were dealing with a mental health crisis. And so now we're back and ready to distract ourselves with hopefully fun things. And so there's a lot of Marvel stuff that we're going to talk about. There's some stuff in here that is not Marvel. There's some stuff in here that's not specifically Marvel Studios, but most of it is. I'll say. So we're going to start by checking back in on a big story that I looked it up. I think Andrew and I first initially talked about it on our Ghostbusters episode earlier this year, and then we kind of circled back around to it when we did our X-Men 97 coverage with Henrique on as well. The whole saga of Beau DeMayo, who's the creator of X-Men 97, kind of getting weirdly, unceremoniously fired before season 1 even came out. It was a weird story that kind of didn't really have any clear answers, right? Like we were kind of just like, well, what the fuck happened here? Like, it clearly did something that he got fired, but he didn't really seem to be putting up too much of a stink. He was still active on social media, answering stuff about the show as it was airing, certainly enjoying the praise that, was being lavished upon the show, which was deserved. The first season of X-Men 97 was fantastic. But there's been some developments on that front. Ooh. So Beau DeMayo took to Twitter, or I think it was Twitter, basically saying that he had received a letter from Marvel saying that he had been stripped of his credits for the upcoming second season of X-Men 97 due to a post that he had made, which was like fan art that he had in celebration of Gay Pride in June. And this story is a couple months old, I'll say.
Which was really...
so you've probably heard a little bit about this. It's basically him as Cyclops shirtless, which seems to be consistent with the type of shit that he posts, which is a lot of scantily clad stuff of himself as superheroes or not superheroes, just scantily clad things. He likes to put him.
Individual.
He's very proud of himself in terms of the way he looks and the way and so he's not afraid to share that aspect of himself widely and openly with people. So that's what he said. He put it out on Twitter, and Marvel was like, no, that's not what happened. And so apparently, this is what Marvel said, and this gives some answers of the questions that we had of like, what the fuck happened? What did he do? Marvel put out a statement saying that he was terminated in March 2024 following an internal investigation. Given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately, and he has no further affiliation with Marvel. And the follow-up to this from the Hollywood Reporter is that basically, because like as part of his firing, they reached an agreement. He and Marvel reached an agreement in which he would be allowed to tweet about the show, but there was basically certain things that he could or could not do. And so basically, apparently, this post or maybe something else that he had posted rose to the level of breaching that agreement that they had reached. And so I think the bigger context, I think, to this, and I don't know how much of this is in the Hollywood Reporter and just how much I'm remembering from all of the kind of things that came out about this, is basically the nature of his egregious misconduct, or whatever Marvel called it, egregious nature of the findings. It involves sexual misconduct, which I think we might have speculated about. I can't remember on the pod, potentially. And so a lot of what I was seeing is basically, it seems like a lot of the posts he was making, the shirtless stuff of himself, is very similar to the types of behavior he was doing that led to his firing. Like he was sending shit like that to people that he worked with, sort of pretty inappropriate shit that, really shouldn't be happening in a workplace, that sort of thing. So that's what Marvel said. He, of course, struck back by posting a 30-minute video on, wait for it, OnlyFans, in which he said that actually everything that Marvel has said is false and that it's all lies and that they are the ones who committed egregious misconduct against him. So it was this kind of back and forth thing. And the storylines kind of, I think, disappeared a little bit. I think that maybe he sued Marvel, and I think that's kind of the last we've heard of it. So maybe things are kind of playing out,
in the courtroom?
Not necessarily in the courtroom, but in trying to figure things out there in a more closed environment with all this stuff not being handled through, the press the way that it kind of had been, or through OnlyFans, which apparently is the greatest venue to work through. Because if you want people to believe everything that you're saying, you post it behind a paywall on OnlyFans. That's true grifter shit right there.
Homie made a really good fucking show. That's all I know.
Well, and so, I mean, at the end of the day, X-Men 97 is still happening with or without him, with or without his credits. We'll see if maybe there is a drop in quality without his, continued involvement, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. Who do you want to believe? I guess up in the air. Maybe we can wait for this lawsuit to resolve and figure out what the hell happened. To me, the lawyer in me is kind of just like, hey man, like if they fired him and, did these things, like they probably had a pretty airtight reason, because a wrongful firing, lawsuit, like, Disney's certainly not above doing some dumb fucking bullshit and the way that they handle these cases. There was I don't know, you guys remember the Disney World thing where the food was, had like an allergen in it, and they lied about it, and then basically they're saying that like the person that filed the lawsuit, the person that died, their wife was subscribed to Disney Plus, so that they were subject to all the terms of what had in terms of like what.
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
No.
Which I think was pretty. I think they retracted that after everyone was just like, that's the most asinine bullshit I've ever fucking heard. So again, Disney's not above doing some fucking questionable, shady shit in terms of trying to do what they need to do, win a case. But I don't know. To me, again, like if your response to being I'm not owned is to post a 30-minute video on OnlyFans, like that doesn't really inspire confidence in me either. So I don't know. Maybe both suck. Maybe he did commit some shit and deserve to be fired. Maybe he is also really good at making TV shows and he just happens to suck on it in his spare time. It's not the first time it's happened in Hollywood. So I don't know. Either way, that's kind of the update on it. I will, stop talking for now. If you guys have thoughts you want to add on, but I figured we should circle back around to it. It's Marvel centric. It's obviously relevant to a TV show that we very much enjoyed this year. And it was kind of a very intriguing saga, obviously, when the news came out, and as we've kind of learned more and more as kind of the new aspects of this have trickled out. So yeah. Any thoughts on that? It's a lot there.
It's pretty loaded. I guess I have to get an OnlyFans account so I can go watch this 30-minute video.
I think someone reposted it on Reddit. If they put it in like a
that's like, okay.
Save you the $10 or whatever to watch and talk about how everyone's wrong but him. So.
I don't know. It's just a weird situation. I'm looking forward to seeing the show. If he did do the things that he's accused of, then it sounds like he should not be continuing on. I don't have enough to make.
We don't have all the information
to make a defense for or against.
It's a he said they said sort of situation right now. I guess who do you believe maybe is sort of where you come out on that, but I don't know.
And ultimately, who took he posted a thing, and the Disney said, "Oh fuck no," and they come back after him, and that's pretty much what happened here, right?
Right, and he was insinuating that basically like they came after him because it was a gay pride thing, and that's
and they're like, no, sir,
will be vehemently against his, and then they came out like, no, it was because you violated an agreement that we made, and again, I think that. I don't know if it's a connecting the dots thing or whatever, but it seemed like that was the type of images he was posting was too similar
risque.
To the types of behavior that he was doing in the workplace that led to his firing. And, his the termination, and we don't even know the truth anymore.
I would be interested to know,
of course,
what actually happened and what leads to the firing, because the guy is a. Like, what surely Disney would really like to have him on board because he made some really good shit. So he must have done something truly egregious.
He probably was fired for a reason, in theory, but not necessarily, right?
Right? Yeah.
Maybe it was just a pretense. Who's to say? I don't know. I mean, again, that's one of those things. Like, if that lawsuit actually plays out, Discovery is going to be really ugly for someone because someone's lying. Someone's lying. You know what I mean? It's how it always comes out.
Yeah.
Someone's lying. Someone's not. They're not lying, but they are omitting some key details. Maybe perhaps.
Clearly, I don't know.
Given some alternative truths at the very least.
Mm-hmm. So hey, yeah, I mean, check back in a few months. Maybe by the time season 2 rolls around, we'll have another development in the saga. But that's where it stands right now. It's messy. It's very messy. And he ain't coming back. The bridge has been burnt, and he's probably not doing a whole lot of shit for other people either. I think his career is pretty torched at this point, unless he's vindicated. But if he's not, he's torched. So there's that. All right, who's ready to move on to our next headline? This is a little bit more straightforward, a little less dramatic, I think. But alas, we will move on. Big news, and this is really relevant to what we're talking about today, and Agatha All Along, because we're going to be getting a Vision-centered series on Disney Plus in the near future, probably in the next few years, which is basically going to be the follow-up to this show. It's going to be part of an unofficial trilogy with WandaVision, Agatha All Along, and this Vision series, which is maybe called Vision Quest, maybe not. But the real big news is that this show is going to feature the return of one of the biggest big bads that we've seen in the MCU, who's only had really one lonely film appearance, has appeared in alternate versions and What If, but Ultron. Ultron is back, and James Spader is going to be reprising his role as Ultron in this upcoming Vision series. So how do you feel about that? How do you like them apples?
What happened to Ultron again? Remind me from Avengers.
He got blown up by Vision.
Yeah, he tried to create the Age of Ultron, take over the world, kill the Avengers, humanity, or at least drop a meteor on Sokovia and all that sort of stuff. And then I think he basically got rooted out of the entire internet and purged from existence by Vision, which was his original, supposed to be the perfect body and form for Ultron. So you can be forgiven for getting the events of Age of Ultron. It's okay.
It was a short age, short-lived.
But
I think it's one villain.
Avengers, a few minutes, roughly 20 to 30 minutes of Ultron.
Yeah, he saw the internet.
A few days, maybe a few days.
So it comes back in some capacity, presumably.
Yeah.
I'll be back.
I think
in some
one
capacity.
villain is going to come back. I think Ultron makes sense because he's
like an AI.
He doesn't need a body. He's
right. He can exist anywhere, any form, that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
So, if he were existing out in outer space and then ruled a part of the galaxy, that might be a lot cooler. Mm-hmm. But I'm not opposed to Ultron coming back. I think as long as you do something with him, even though he was a villain for an Avengers movie, it seems like it's the most forgettable Avengers movie of the 4 so far. Yeah, and just kind of like it's cool. Like I like James Spader's voice for it, but it's just kind of, I think you could have done a little bit more with Ultron. So in some ways, I'm excited to see him get another crack at it, as long as they do it well. And I would kind of want him either to just be like an addition to the show, or if he's going to be a true villain, then kind of bring him back and reestablish his threat in some ways, if that makes sense.
Yeah, do Ultron but better. Which he was fine before, but he wasn't as badass or terrifying as we know.
Right,
comic Ultron can be.
What if Ultron
was even a better version?
What if Ultron
totally.
was formidable for sure?
Yeah, totally. I right. We don't really know the extent of how involved this character is going to be. I mean, this is the show centered on White Vision, who maybe doesn't have memories. I can't remember exactly where we left him with WandaVision, but so it's and
then flew into the sun, right?
I think he flew off. I think it was Icarus that flew into the sun in Eternals.
I thought he just took off, flew into the sun.
Well, I think he flew off somewhere. I don't know if it was specifically
towards the sun. Maybe
it
was towards the sun.
It might have been towards the sun.
I didn't think he was trying to go to the sun.
I don't think he was trying to go into it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, I agree. At the end of the day, I agree. You know, either it's just like a cool kind of thing, or it's like you fucking go full. This is the badass Ultron you wanted it to be. You know, like I think Marvel's kind of done that. I guess like kind of with like I guess the Mandarin sort of kind of was like, here's kind of the lame, you know, version from Iron Man 3, and then like no, we get the real cool one in Shang-Chi. You know, and it's different, obviously, but you know, like a clear concerted effort to being like, yeah, we didn't really do it the right way the first time, so we'll do it better this time. So here, and it's a perfect character to do it and bring it back and not have like it like you don't really have to go that you don't have to stretch that far story wise for it to make sense. So
just please don't give him teeth. That was
teeth.
Weird.
Yeah, just give him the, you know, the face, make him more robotic. You know, he doesn't need to be Tony Stark light. That was you know, we already got that. Do something different. At a minimum, do something different. That's my humble request for this. So all right. So what do we think? Any other thoughts?
I would have appreciated a villain that was more like, I don't know. We got Agatha, we got Wanda. We had some other characters that maybe or maybe not around after the conclusion of this show.
Sure.
You know, so I would have. I don't know.
And it's not even to say that Ultron will be the main villain of this. You know,
maybe not. Maybe he's not.
True.
You know, so if he's, I think the main villain of whatever we get next, I would like it to be a villain that is, I don't know, just supernatural focused. I like that. We don't get to focus a whole lot on that corner of the Marvel universe. So
yeah, and but on the other hand, you had a witchy show. Vision's not much of a witch himself, so maybe it makes sense to go for a more technological bent. You know, with
I guess
this,
it is
even though
true.
It is
because it is a Vision show, right?
So it might, you know, it might have a different feel in some ways. So,
and this is going to be the conclusion of this like trilogy.
I think it's continuing the probably the main story points in the sense that probably characters that were in WandaVision that maybe ended up in Agatha All Along. Maybe some of those characters continue through into Vision Quest, or again whatever it ends up being called. So I think the idea is to have them. You know, you could watch them back to back to back maybe and have a relatively complete story, obviously devoid of some of the other context and stuff like, you know, why is Wanda dead at the beginning of Agatha All Along? Like, that's not what happened at the end of WandaVision, but stuff like that, you know, so, yeah. All right, who's ready to move on?
Yeah. Move on.
Who's ready for more Spider-Man action? Who's ready for pictures of Spider-Man? I want pictures.
I want more.
Pictures of Spider-Man. Well, there's going to be a motion picture about Spider-Man, Mr. Jameson, on July 24th of 2026. Tom Holland's back for the untitled Spider-Man 4. Sony's making it. You know, while they're not making other shit, you know, all these other non-Spider-Man Spider-Man movies, they might actually go back and make a Spider-Man movie this time. And we've got a new director. John Watts is not returning, but in his place, we are getting Destin Daniel Cretton stepping into the director's chair. You know, because apparently he's not making Shang-Chi 2 for some fucking reason. Or that movie has been, I don't know. What are they doing? Why are they not making that? What are we doing here? 2021 that movie came out. It was great. Damn. Everyone liked it. I'm pretty sure it did very well. What are we waiting for? You know, I don't know. Very, very odd. Anyway, yeah, he's on board to make Spider-Man 4. Which I think is a good get. I mean, obviously I liked his work on Shang-Chi. I've liked his work on other things, Short Term 12, Just Mercy. He is involved in another Marvel TV project, which we have a little actually bit of that we'll talk about in a piece of news that we'll get to later, Wonder Man. But yeah, so Spider-Man 4, it's going to be July of 2026, which basically, I think in terms of release dates, puts it right after Avengers Doomsday. Yeah, so Doomsday is May of 2026. Spider-Man is July of 2026. So in terms of timeline continuity, I don't really know exactly how that works, but Tom Holland is expected to appear in Doomsday, but I don't think that's been officially confirmed either. So and Doomsday with Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, lest we forget. But yeah. So that's kind of the scope of things. So any hopes and dreams for Spider-Man 4? Are you guys looking forward to it? Like, what would you want to see as a villain? Like, where are you guys at with this sort of thing?
I think it was on. I can't remember the exact episode, but I remember on this podcast when we were talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, I said it would hit $1 billion.
You made the bold prediction.
That movie made $1.9 million. $1.9 billion.
Stupid amounts of money. Stupid money.
That's ridiculous. Holy shit. No, I'm excited. I think I saw an interview. I can't remember how long ago this was actually recorded, but it was Tom Holland talking about, will you come back for Spider-Man 4, what's going on? And Tom Holland is a notorious
spoiler guy. Yeah.
No, yeah, sure.
So, but he seemed pretty open in talking about it, in that he wants to come back. He enjoys Spider-Man and what the role did for him, but felt that they really have to do the character justice. And so he seemed pretty invested. And I think, as you do when you're 3 plus a couple Avengers movies and a Captain America movie in, so he's had by far the most amount of Spider-Man appearances in movies of any actor. So I think if the team is right, which I like the crew from the previous Spider-Man movies, and I like the director, so this seems like, as long as Sony doesn't get too involved in the creative process, that I'm all on board.
Right. But let Marvel Studios continue to make these movies, and then you just reap the benefits. It's a pretty. Right. It seems like a pretty win-win sort of thing. You know, it's
I did hear that. There's as much speculation as these things go, that Sony really wanted to recreate a multiverse. Let's bring Toby back, let's bring Andrew back, do this whole thing. And Marvel was like, no, we want a more grounded Spider-Man. And I hope that means Marvel won out, because No Way Home was great, but if you're just doing it again, then it's not as special.
Right.
How I see it.
It doesn't have the same sort of appeal. I mean, it was there was the anticipation there. They're like, oh, they're totally bringing them back, right? But we really didn't know until the movie came out, and it was just fucking hype, and it was bringing back the old villains. It was just so much, and that was really early multiverse days. We had Multiverse of Madness, I guess, at that point, but that was when multiverse was a still fun, really cool, interesting concept. Now we're kind of at the point where we've seen it a few times. It can be done really well. It can be done not as well, but
it's kind of not going anywhere now that we don't have a Kang.
Right.
Well, right. Well, we might have a multiversal Fantastic Four and a Doctor Doom and stuff like that. Remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's but it's you already did that. You did. If the next Doctor Strange movie is yet another tumble through the multiverse, it's you just did that. So. Do something different a little bit with it, I think, is probably the way. That would be my approach. And I think a grounded, it's been a pipe dream for a long, long time, but give me a fucking Spider-Man and Daredevil versus Kingpin movie. That's really all I want, and with the way that you left this character at the end of No Way Home, no one knows who Peter Parker is. He's just Spider-Manning about. He's got the classic duds on. And he's, his friends and MJ, they don't know him. They don't know who he is. So give him new love interests, give him new friends, you can give me a Harry Osborn. You can give me, I don't know, a Felicia Hardy, a little, temptation there with a flirty villain, Black Cat. I think that would be really interesting to see.
Spider-Man's a great character. There's a lot to draw from.
There's so many avenues that they could go with Spider-Man that are not bring back other Spider-Men, and it's we've got Spider-Verse that kind of covers that territory. It's just I don't know.
I think if you want more Spider-Man, then it's 3 movies have passed, 4 movies in. Maybe this is where you introduce Miles, kind of like the video games did.
Miles
where
would be good.
And he doesn't even necessarily have to replace Peter. The video games did it so well, where you had 2 Spider-Men together.
Those video games hit hard. Those were good.
It was just really great.
Yeah. Look, if they
do something similar,
if they modeled after the Insomniac games, I wouldn't be mad. Yeah, even if they did Venom, like an actual Venom, a symbiote arc, a black suit arc, like they could totally do all those things, and there's a lot of places they could go that aren't just back to the well, and even, I mean, there's rumors that it might be like a symbiote thing where it, the multiverse thing brings in the Venomverse and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I don't want that. That's probably the worst case scenario is Spider-Man and Venom and 8 other symbiotes versus Null or whoever the fuck. So, I don't really want that either. Like, that's not exciting to me as someone that is not obviously very in on the Sony Spider-Man bullshit without Spider-Man. But yeah, I don't know. Just give me good grounded Spider-Man. Let him swing around New York City, and do Spider-Man-y things. Like, I don't know. I don't ask for that much, but I don't know. I don't know. Just
nothing wrong with a simple Spider-Man with a good, solid, simple villain. You know what I mean?
And I think if you're going to do the multiverse stuff, do that in Avengers. Do that in Secret Wars. Put them in Secret Wars, and multiverse to your fucking heart's content, man. Like that's the venue to do it. I feel so. I don't know. Like if Secret Wars doesn't have Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, then I feel like they're doing it wrong. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about that sort of thing. So anyway, Spider-Man 4, July 2026. Hey, we'll see.
It'll probably be awesome. It'll probably be great.
I'll probably enjoy it, even if it isn't exactly what I would do. But I'm not in charge, and they also have to fight with Sony on all this shit. So that probably makes things a little bit more difficult. So, hey. There you have it. All right, one more headline to get into. This is kind of a nonchalant headline. I almost didn't include it because I was just kind of like, this is so casual. I'm like, I don't even think usually I look at like official announcements or like big announcements through the trades and stuff like that. But a trade reported on it, so I'm picking it up here. Denzel Washington's on a press tour right now. Gladiator 2 comes out very soon.
Oh yeah.
Next week and a half, I think a week and a half from when we're recording anyway. Yeah. And he's in that, obviously. And he just was speaking to Australia's Today when the man just dropped a double piece of news on us. He revealed that director Ryan Coogler is writing him a role in the 3rd Black Panther film, which is to say, Black Panther 3 confirmed. All right. I mean, no one's really surprised by that. But Ryan Coogler coming back also, maybe 3 news. Ryan Coogler coming back, writing it. Sounds good. Obviously, that certainly is good. We like that. And then Denzel's going to be fucking in it, man. What's he going to be doing? Is he going to be in Wakanda? What's he, what's his, I don't know. Lots of things, but he's basically saying that that's going to be one of the last roles that he takes on before he retires. He's obviously getting up there.
How old is he now?
Years.
70s?
I think he's right around 70.
Late 70, or not late 70, Jesus Christ. He's probably
late 60s.
Late 60s, early 70s.
Let's do this. 69.
69.
He's going to be turning
69. 69. 59? What? Sorry.
Shiggity shwove? 55?
Yeah, that's it.
It's a throw. That's an internet throwback right there. The E-Bombs world shit right there. Newgrounds, maybe?
What's my age? 55. 55. 55. It's 55. It's not 69. Sorry. Just got carried away.
Not quite, but 69 is nice. Some might say. It's a nice age. So he's going to be turning 70 in a little less than a couple months. By the end of the year, he'll be 70. So, he's getting up there. It's good retiring age, perhaps. But yeah, what do you guys think? Black Panther 3, Denzel on board? Does that excite you? Obviously, it's a Chadwick-less Black Panther, obviously, future that we're, looking at. Again, darkest timeline. But yeah, what do you think? Does this intrigue you? Does this interest you? You in? You like a Denzel? Like a Black Panther 3?
I like Denzel Washington. I think Denzel Washington is as deep of an actor. He reflects the material he's given. You know what I'm saying? I think if he's given good material, I think he's got a lot of charisma about him. But I do think that I think he's got chops. And I think he can really, sure. I think he can really own the, especially like when you start to, like when you dig a little bit into what he's about personally, like on a real life level, you know what I mean? I think he could probably really draw from like from the story beats and from like the development that Black Panther's had, you know what I mean? What kind of Black Panther represents and whatnot. I think he's probably all about it. I think he'll probably put a lot of heart in the role. Whatever that role may be, I don't know. But if he's gonna if he's gonna say this is gonna be one of his last roles before he retires, I imagine this is gonna be kind of like his lasting impact as an actor. You know what I mean? This is I'm gonna give it all to this role, which is kind of exciting. You know?
Yeah,
man. Denzel's a fucking man. Like, talking about one of the probably best, like, active living actors right now. Just
he's got a lot of roles.
He's had like a great career, and I like some of the stuff he's doing now. It's like some bigger franchises and then some like more not necessarily indie to the level, and he certainly had other films just in action genres and such. But I think back on he did that one Coen brother.
Oh yeah, okay.
Shakespeare movie.
Yeah, Macbeth.
Yeah, Macbeth, right?
Macbeth. Yeah. Like, it's just, I just picture him in that, and it's just.
I haven't seen that yet. I really wanted to watch that.
And so, yeah, Ryan Coogler and Denzel, and obviously Michael B. Jordan, because Ryan Coogler has to find some way
He'll
to
be
put
back
Michael
somehow.
B. Jordan in there.
Yeah.
But
Multiverse.
Michael B. Jordan, no, great. I think the second movie was really tough with the passing of Chadwick, and this one I think you get to distance yourself a little bit from that. Maybe it is about the new Black Panther, or I think this one is just a little bit easier. I don't know where they take the story, but the second one just seemed like an impossible task.
Right. Now
I think they did the best they could.
You can move on a little bit more. I don't want to say easily, but effectively.
There's more opportunity for this.
You've been able to turn the page. Now you can kind of open up maybe the story potentials and
in the really unfortunate incidents of Chadwick Boseman's passing. But I think now it's like you get to really focus on the next part of the story, and so yeah, really excited about it. Bring it on. Cool.
Well, we'll see what. That's probably a few years away. No official announcement for Black Panther 3 or anything like that. So clearly in the works. Sounds like. I don't think he's just making shit up. But we've got a good ways to wait. Ryan Coogler's obviously busy with Sinners more eminently.
Oh yeah.
And Denzel's in Gladiator. So, but the real question as we turn our attention to our trailers is, who is fucking pumped for Kraven the Hunter? Come on. Don't everyone shout at once.
The sequel?
Sergei Kravenov. Sergei.
What's he saying in this trailer when he's talking about the myth? He says like it's just like fucking super deep in the throat. You know what I'm saying? Like when he's talking about the myth, every myth is grounded in a beat of truth. But it's
he's just doing. You're not a Sardaukar. What are you doing here? That's the next thing we're talking about. We're talking about Dune next. Come on.
That's what Russians sound like. I thought this movie had already come out and gone past and everything else. What the fuck?
Wish.
No, it's just been delayed like 6 times.
Golly. Put it on out. Put it out on Netflix already.
This feels like a good Netflix movie.
It would be a prime Netflix.
Yeah. Who's seeing this at the movie theater? Everyone raise your hand.
No. Yeah.
Who saw Venom: The Last Dance? Did anyone see Venom: The Last Venom in theaters? It's out now.
I did not, but
no.
I see at least.
Nope.
Wait for the airplane ride for that.
Is anybody flying? Yeah.
I see the appeal of Venom. Like I don't know. This is. I get Venom. I don't get this, and I kind of hate this since trailer 1, and since we got Kraven in the Spider-Man Insomniac game, Spider-Man 2.
Mm.
If you're not going to do one, just the concept of having Kraven without Spider-Man, I literally don't care unless this is all prequel to get him to Spider-Man.
Ooh, Spider-Man 4
sure,
maybe.
Call me then. But until then, I am not interested in.
Is he your Kraven either? Is this guy the guy that you would cast as Kraven? Is he your Kraven?
I mean, no, but like,
what'd he do?
I generally speaking like Aaron Taylor Johnson, but I don't think he's a good fit for Kraven. That's
no.
I don't. I mean,
he's not the worst, but like for this role, but I don't. This isn't. It's not.
You don't have to cast a Russian, Kraven. But I don't know. He's very not Russian at the same time either. You know what I mean? So like I don't really buy him. Like he's fucking buff and he's got the physicality and stuff like that. But I don't really buy him.
He's almost I think Kraven. He's a little. I mean, I don't know.
Too young, maybe. I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a little too young. I think he's a little too lean. He's not. I think of Kraven as kind of. I
want like the Mountain. I want like a 7 foot tall dude.
Exactly.
Who's like also built and menacing, which like. You don't have to be exactly like the comic book.
But you can catch a fucking lion though. You know what I'm saying?
I think he's too handsome. He's too handsome to be like he doesn't have like the roughness or the gruffness.
I agree. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I don't know. And again, going back to the Spider-Man video games, like they did a really good version of Kraven there. And
you know who could do
the voice, the appearance, and the characterization was all like really well done there, and it feels like it's
really well done.
Not here, like it
he does accents.
This barely seems to be Kraven.
Hear me out. This man does accents.
I'm listening.
He can put on some weight. He can get large.
Okay.
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy would be better. I mean, he's a little busy as another Sony, Marvel character, but
it'd be a little weird.
He does the act. He can do a Russian accent. I'm sure. He nailed it.
Tom Hardy goes all in
because he can go full mumble. We all saw The Revenant, right? Like the whole movie.
Or he can go full whatever was going on in that motorcycle movie.
I ride my motorcycle. He could do that. He's got range, man. He's got range. He could totally do it. I think Tom Hardy would be a better fit. I don't know if he would be who I would pick at the same time either, but I do think that he would be a better fit. Yeah. I don't know.
But it's just the concept of the movie. I'm like, I don't need
that's just
this
it,
movie.
Right?
That's like, you can cast whoever.
Enough of these dumb fucking Spider-Man villains without Spider-Man movies.
Why? It's just no.
Venom like almost sort of gets away with it because you can certainly have a Venom exist in San Fran separate from Spider-Man. It's weird to do it in a way that Spider-Man wasn't involved in the creation of Venom in the first place. Like that's kind of where that got weird. But then like fine, whatever. It's kind of branched off into its own thing. But I don't know, Madam Web, your Cravens, Morbius. It's like that you're really stretching credulity here to like think that people have any sort of interest in these characters when they are not at least marginally associated with Spider-Man. And having the Vulture show up in your post credits is not the answer. Okay, it didn't work in Morbius. It won't work here. Okay,
I think it had something to do with Spider-Man.
What? And you know what will also not help is having a bad CG version of the Rhino. That will also not do you any favors.
See, that's because just salt to the wound.
They didn't even give us Paul Giamatti back.
That's worse than Paul Giamatti. At least that was funny.
Yeah,
Paul Giamatti was great.
I laughed at that. This is not funny. This is just sad. This just makes me angry. I don't like it.
No. Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, no real surprises. Hey, and good on Russell Crowe cashing in here. Good for you. We all knew this was going to be bad. I mean, I guess if I had to say any one nice thing about it, at least it seems like for whatever reason, this is the movie where they're kind of just like, oh yeah, we can do blood now. It's violent. It's gory. And it's like, yeah, you did Carnage as a PG-13
there should be
movie.
Nothing more bloody than that, right?
Carnage is a serial killer with access to, this fucking murderous, symbiote suit. He should be tearing people in half left and right. And that was the PG-13 movie. And this is the rated R movie. And it's like, yeah, I mean, Kraven should be fucking raw and bloody and shit too. But like, okay, I don't know. This is definitely a Netflix movie, which is to say that it would go up on Netflix. I would see it's on the splash page, laugh about it. I would watch it. And then I wouldn't watch it. I mean, I would be like, no, I'm good.
You would skip past it if it was on the splash page?
But I would understand why it's there, and be like,
couple brewskis, you get home, eat some pizza, fucking watch some Kraven.
Like I would be like, the people that are watching this, they're doing it the right way because it's on Netflix. And it's a sunken cost. They've already paid for Netflix. Maybe it's a sub 2 hour piece of shit, but maybe it's bloody fun. I don't know. Seeing this in the theaters though, seeing this in IMAX. I mean, who the fuck's seeing this in IMAX? Crazy shit, man. I don't know. Once upon a time it would have been us, but we are beyond such things at this point in the podcast.
The one positive thing I could say is that it will probably be better than Madam Web.
I don't know. I don't know.
I think just for like, I can go watch some action.
It does look like there's action.
Yes,
Somebody gets split in half
the
by
action.
a
I can go.
That's cool.
I can go and watch some action happen.
The action
and, like,
could
that
be
seems
pretty
well
be
directed
interesting.
and
Like,
choreographed. So like,
on the one hand,
there you
Madam
go.
Web actually does seem like peak drunk cinema in the sense that you get sloshed and it's basically it's like watching The Room. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's so bad that you can't just help but kind of lean into it, enjoy it a little bit. This is maybe taking itself a little bit too seriously. You know, maybe the action is good, but then anything that's not action is blah, 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 blah. And you're like, and you know, and a big thing of him fighting the rhino and shit. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is actually just really bad. You know, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll
When's
see
it come out?
on January 13th of 2023. Oh wait, that's not right. October 6th of 2023. Nope, shit, that one didn't stick. August 30th of 2024. There we go. Oh, fuck me dead. December 13th of 2024. There we go. It's always a good, inspiring sign when your movie's been delayed by almost 2 years. And not even probably because of COVID at that point. So there you go. Kraven the Hunter. All right, let's move on. To our one non-Marvel thing, totally non-Marvel, but I included it here because it involves a franchise that I know the both of you are, you know, really, really big fans of. And that franchise is Dunk, aka Dune. But Dunk, if you look at the logo the wrong way. We are getting a, before we get Dune Messiah with Denny coming back to direct and Timmy and Zendaya all on board, we are getting a series on Max, which is actually debuting in just a few days. We'll have debuted by the time this episode is up for the regular listeners, and that series is called Dune Prophecy. I think Andrew and I might have talked about a teaser or something a while back, but we have an official series trailer really kind of showing off the look, the feel, sort of kind of the story, and it's very Dune-esque, I think. You know, Arrakis is still involved, and the Imperium. There's lots of mentions of the Imperium. Mark Strong's here. He's still very bald. Got some Bene Gesserit, kind of classic Dune touchstones. I think this is like thousands of years before the events of the Dune movies, if I'm not mistaken. Roughly 10,000 years before the events.
10,000 years.
Holy
Damn.
fuck. Not much
going
has
way
changed,
back.
I guess. Lots of, there's still Harkonnens, there's still Bene Gesserit.
All the ships look the same, too.
All the ships kind of look the same. Technology's been really stagnant in the universe for 10,000 years, apparently.
Just wait 10,000 years in the future.
I guess maybe like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess just at a certain point, you're just like, yeah, the spice is all we need.
You know?
Once
point, you probably
peak. There's nothing else to do. Right?
I don't know. We read
You
the three
can't
body
have computers
problem.
and you can't use machines. Really, like you can't use computerized machines and like intelligence. So,
Oh,
have people do
guys,
math in their heads.
look who it is. It's Mr. Baby.
Oh, it's the
Baby
Bene Gesserit
cameo.
himself.
Oh, the Bene Gesserit. Oh, very
Hey,
well done.
Oh,
hey, say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Say cheese.
you can say it
Can you say cheese?
in whatever language.
Can you say Christmas?
baby.
You like the Paul Atreides.
Can you say anything at all? Dada? Anyways, this is my baby. He must be on his way to bed. Mama bring him in here before night.
It's at bedtime.
Sleepy times? That's what we call it. We call it sleepy times.
Sleepy times.
You getting sleepy times? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What are we talking about?
Anyway.
Dunk?
We were talking about Dunk. Dune Prophecy. What do you guys think? You guys interested in Dune Prophecy? Is this on your radar? And no, again, Enrique, you were super big on, going through some of those early Dune books. Andrew, I know how much of a fan of the movies you are, and at least the first book. So what do you guys think? Yeah, Dune Prophecy.
I think I've said this once, and I'll say it again. I like me some Dune,
Sure.
and I like me some spice. I like me the desert. If you're gonna give me more of it,
The spice
then
must flow.
I'm on board. Obviously, if it doesn't turn out to be as good, it's disappointing. But we've had 2 Dune products. Obviously, Denny was created those 2 things, and I'm sure they had to have it be consistent within that universe. So I'm expecting it to be at least enjoyable for me, and if it's great, then even better. But yeah, man, there's just so much to the Dune lore, and there's more that they can get into. And I ended up going through the first four books, and it's wild. Man,
it does get wild. I know that it gets
God,
wild.
Emperor of Dune is just ridiculous. It's just like, this man is a sandworm. Just it's ridiculous.
This apparently is more based off of the Great Schools of Dune prequel trilogy, which is a post Frank Herbert side of Dune. Sure. Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. Sisterhood of Dune, Mentats of Dune, and Navigators of Dune are the three in that trilogy, which they're 2012, 2014, 2016, so pretty recent overall.
So they're drawing from materials, what you're telling me?
They are drawing from some source material. I don't know how closely they are, drawing it from it. I don't know if it's going to be as faithful of an adaptation as like Dune and Dune Part 2.
Right.
So unclear to me. I mean, I know Denny was involved in this at an early stage in its production. I'm not sure how involved he really ended up being once the show kind of took shape. So I don't know. Yeah. I think it's inspired by the book without being a straight adaptation. I think it's using some of the ideas, maybe some characters and stuff like that, but maybe a relatively original story within those confines is kind of from just poking around Wikipedia. That seems to be where my head is. That seems to be what I'm seeing. So yeah. So Andrew, what did you think?
I think this looks like it shares a lot of the same vibes, I think, as Game of Thrones. Feels very Game of Thrones-ish.
Definitely, yeah. I think some early reviews have come out and definitely given it a lot of Game of Thrones comparisons in terms of kind of what it's going for and in terms of its tone and feel.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, Like, I think part of the...
Well, it depends, but it depends, but yes.
Parts of it?
Shit Game of Thrones?
And I think that Dune is largely... space opera Game of Thrones.
It's
you know what I'm saying?
Like definitely politically, forward, I guess. I don't know if that's the best way to phrase it, but it's there's a lot of space politicking going on in Dune.
And that's cool. I take it.
And that's kind of the core of the conflict of everything and stuff. And I mean a Game of Thrones in space with the Dune setting doesn't feel like a crazy stretch of the imagination. It feels like actually probably a pretty good fit overall. So
yeah,
so it's a favorable comparison, I think, for this particular type of show. Looks to be 6 episodes, at least from what I'm seeing.
Oh, that's a good amount
through the end of December. Actually, I agree. That makes me more excited. I'm like, I don't know if you need 10 episodes of this. You know what I mean? Even 8 might feel like,
No, it needs to be tight.
They're probably long, right? They're
six feels good. 6 good solid hour-long episodes.
That's good.
Political intrigue, Dune setting, a little lower budget, but I don't know. This isn't something that unlike like those Dune movies are fucking spectacles. You see them on IMAX, you see them in Dolby. Whatever you're gonna do, like opening weekend. I don't know if I'm rushing to put this on the TV, in a few days when it comes out. But I feel like maybe kind of once it's closer to wrapping up, I could see myself going in on this, as someone that really, really likes those Dune movies and liked the first Dune book. I now have nice versions of Messiah and Children of Dune, but haven't read any of them yet. They're on my nice fancy wall of books that I'll read eventually.
Nice.
Yeah, color me intrigued by this. I think is probably my overall take on it. Is it something we cover? I don't know. Is it something that we both watch at some point independent from each other?
I'm sure.
I could see that for sure. Definitely seems to be in our wheelhouse, if nothing else. So
I think if it's good, we probably have a pretty good talk about it.
Yeah. Right. So I guess, yeah. We'll just see who takes the plunge first.
When's this hit off? You probably already said it.
It is going to start November 17th, and it is going to air weekly from that point, finishing December 22nd. So we'll wrap up just before Christmas.
Just in time for What If.
Just in time for What If. Yes. And, I think that kind of ties into our next thing, which was sort of a trailer, but showing off a lot of footage for a lot of different things. This is Marvel Studios' look ahead on Disney Plus, showing off what is to come on Disney Plus for the rest of this year and then throughout the entirety of 2025. So Andrew's kind of hit on the one thing that we are getting, the nice extra TV show that we're getting this year, which I thought Agatha was going to be the last Marvel thing we were getting all the year. But it is not. We are going to be getting the third and final season of What If, with daily episodes beginning on December 22nd, following the same format they did last time, which I think was really, really awesome. And you know what? We're going to talk about What If in just a little while. Press pause on What If. We're going to come back to it because there's other things to talk about before we circle back around to What If. But Deadpool and Wolverine is now on Disney Plus. Wasn't at the time this little thing was put out, but it is now for anyone who wants to do that. But moving into 2025, we've got a pretty good slate of things coming out on the TV side of things. Marvel animation show called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is going to be joining the Disney Plus lineup on January 29th of 2025. It seems like that show's kind of morphed. It's seemed like at one point it was supposed to be MCU adjacent. Now it seems to really not be. But it's an animated Spider-Man show with Spider-Man characters and kind of a comic booky animated style. So any takers on that? Would you guys, from the little footage that we got here, are you guys intrigued by Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
Yeah,
I think I'll check it out. Yeah.
I mean, Spider-Man's fucking cool, right? Spent a little while talking about Spider-Man and all the potential that he has when Sony's not fucking making dumb shit. So, yeah, fair enough. Well, I think maybe the next one is probably what I'm the most excited for, not to, steal thunder from anyone else that feels the same way. Daredevil Born Again, March 4th of 2025 is when we're going to be getting first season of Daredevil Born Again, which I think is 8 or 9 episodes. Daredevil's back, Kingpin's back, the Punisher's back. Others might be back. I don't know. We'll have to find out. We have our first official footage finally. I think we've had some unofficial footage available on the internet for those poking around in certain corners. But now we see kind of full on, little new suit action. We see some action. We see some dialogue. Matt Murdock's there.
He's got new billy clubs. Yeah,
you might have some new billy clubs. Probably. So it's a new era of Daredevil. He's born again. What do you guys think? You guys fucking pumped?
I'm fucking hyped for this. Goddamn, the Netflix Daredevil wasn't just like completely right up my alley, and this seems to continue right off of that. So, oh boy, I'm ready. I'm glad they realized that the previous thing worked, and you can change it a little bit, and then just you don't have to reinvent it. People liked it.
Just make basically season 4, and people will be pumped. They will be thrilled.
Totally agree. Action looks cool. I'm really excited to see more Punisher. I really
yeah.
Oh, he's coming back. Yeah.
I really enjoyed what John Bernthal that's his name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed him as the Punisher. I thought it was a cool show. This is going to be good stuff. Guarantee it. It's probably going to be the best Disney Plus show, live action show. I think we've gotten. I really feel that way. I think
could be. It has potential.
Same showrunners or different showrunners, or what do we got as far as
from the
involved?
Netflix era?
Yeah,
it's new people from the Netflix era. This is the show kind of went through that hard reset a couple episodes into its production. I think when the strikes happened, and I think I think Benson and Moorhead are kind of some of the newer directors on it, and I think kind of not full creatives. I don't think they're the showrunners necessarily, but I think they were pretty involved with kind of the new iteration of it once they revamped the show a little bit, once it was born again from its original born again state. I forget who the main showrunner is. I know he had worked on some other stuff, but yeah, Benson and Moorhead are the lead directors for it. So I mean they did great work with Loki season 2. Obviously, beyond their own sort of crazy out there shit that they've worked on themselves prior to coming into the Marvel side of things. Dario Scardapane is the showrunner. Looks like he worked on The Punisher, the Netflix show for The Punisher.
Okay.
Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. So, a couple things that he'd worked on. Yeah, so that's kind of his background, it looks like. So yeah, I'm very pumped, very, very pumped. It also has the return of Vanessa. You embarrassed me in front of Vanessa. And hopefully no one. Hopefully Kingpin doesn't get embarrassed again, because it's gonna be very violent and bloody for whoever.
One of the scariest villains that I've seen.
Yeah, one of the most grounded, like, right? Like, he's
Vincent D'Onofrio, man. He's so good. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. Perfect.
Go at it.
Perfect.
Time and time again.
All right, moving on. Ironheart is coming June 24th, 2025. Characters returning from her debut in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, getting her own Disney Plus series. She's got a new suit. It's a little clunkier, it looks like. A little less anime than her final suit. Anthony Ramos is here. What's he doing? I don't know. You have to watch Ironheart in June.
I don't think he's very excited for that one as well. Yeah,
he might not. He might be a questionable moral character. He might put on a hood at some point and summon a demon or something like that. I don't know.
What?
Maybe. Who's to say? What do you guys think? Ironheart in?
I like that white suit she's got. That white Iron Man suit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think I like the character. I don't know if she fully fit in as well into Wakanda Forever. So if she gets her own show, she'll have that to shine in. So I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah. Right. All right. And then moving into August 6th of 2025, we're getting another animated show called The Eyes of Wakanda, which I think is, I don't know if we've had a ton of detail on it yet. We did get obviously some footage from it here. But I think it's like different periods of Wakandan history that it tells the stories. Like, I don't know if it's anthology episode style or if there's some sort of way that they travel through into the past or anything like that. I'm not entirely sure. Looks like just 4 episodes, so it's like kind of a shorter deal. But I'm excited to see a little animated glimpse into Wakanda. So, any thoughts on that?
I think it looks exciting.
I like Wakanda.
Okay. I think the animation stuff that were pitched in this little look ahead deal, I think is top tier shit. I think we have a lot to look forward to in general. I know we're breaking it down, but getting kind of excited as we talk about it. I think
we will not be starved for content. It seems like both through the end of this year and moving into the next, it's going to be pretty.
We're not going to be starved.
It's going to be pretty much something every month or two.
I hope we're not starved with quality content. It's
that's the question, right?
Yeah, it's I'll be honest, with the Marvel stuff, it's hard not to get petered out when you kind of just get sloshy. It's never DC quality shit, to be fair, but it's never.
But it doesn't always.
It's not Winter Soldier either. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And when the things that make you excited are not of the quality that they should be, it just kind of peters out a little bit.
For sure.
Anyways, the things that are presented so far, including the Wakanda show, look like good. Looks like a lot of effort went into it. At least that's the way it looks. I'm very excited about this show too.
All right. Last two, another animated show, Marvel Zombies, October of 2025, Halloween. When we return to spooky season next year, we'll have Marvel Zombies on Disney Plus to watch. I think continuing from the one episode of that first season of What If, I think is kind of the intent. I think another shorter thing, like 4 or 6 or something like that. I don't think it's a long extended sort of thing. So, it feels like a good Halloween sort of thing. Could be fun. Is my sense of it.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like a fun thing, fun, different kind of deal.
Yeah. And then lastly, our last live action TV show in December of 2025 is going to be Wonder Man, which I did talk about a little bit earlier in the context of it is a show that is created by Destin Daniel Cretton, who is directing Spider-Man 4. for Disney Plus, bringing us a brand new character, or brand new to the MCU character, not so much a brand new character entirely. But Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is playing the character of Simon Williams, who's also known as Wonder Man in the comics. We also see the return of Sir Ben Kingsley.
Oh yeah,
as,
he's great.
Trevor Slattery in this, which is good fun. And this kind of, I mean, it kind of feels like an Agatha type show of like out of nowhere, no one really asked for it, but it has a lot of intrigue and a lot of promise, and like that is almost kind of exciting in its own sort of way, where the expectations aren't really there, necessarily, where it's like, oh yeah, they can just kind of do whatever the fuck they want with this show, and if they do it the right way, then it could be a really pleasant surprise. Or, it could be kind of nothing and, we'll forget about it by tomorrow, potentially as well. But I like Yahya Abdul-Mateen. I think he's good, and I'm really excited to see him in the MCU for sure. So yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by Wonder Man. Want to see a lot more. I feel like we don't really know what the story is, what the thrust of it is, yet, and it's over a year away, so obviously we'll have plenty of time to get some more stuff with it. But this is the first time it's actually been even officially confirmed by Marvel, which is kind of weird because we all kind of knew it existed, and like Kevin Feige had talked about it, but they never actually officially announced it until this little thing. So,
and what is Wonder Man? Who is Wonder Man? What's his deal?
He's like Wonderful Man,
Yeah, he's like strong, he's fast.
Yes,
he's just a wonder.
He's strong and does things.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been in the Avengers. I think traditionally
he's done some stuff. Like he's one of like the older members.
Yeah. So I don't think he's ever been like a huge major comic book character. Obviously,
just like kind of like a vanilla kind of guy
to this point.
Strong.
That's always been my impression, is like kind of a bog standard
like
superhero in terms of
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly, stuff like that. I don't think he's a mutant. No, I think he's
not usually. Yeah,
maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think he's just he's just got superpowers somehow.
Okay,
I'm not entirely sure how. He's just a guy,
fucking Wonder Man. All right.
I mean, he's called Wonder Man, which is like,
very basic.
Not exactly the most exciting superhero name that you could think of, but perhaps it's an apt name. I don't know. Gained to superhuman powers due to chemical and radiation treatments with ionic energy by Baron Zemo, giving him superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, and reflexes.
Okay.
So, I mean,
that's Wonder Man.
If that doesn't say comic, if that doesn't scream comic books to you, I don't know what would. So, yeah, I don't know. I have to say, I don't know a whole lot about him. I've seen him in stuff. I think he was in Earth's Mightiest Heroes at one point. I am a fan of what we were shown here. I think it looks kind of different, and it takes something as simple and as vanilla as Wonder Man. It kind of makes it look like it might be kind of interesting a little bit here, so that's cool. Yeah. I think I know him best because I believe his brainwaves are what is used to program Vision in the comics.
Right, yeah, that's true.
What?
So, yeah, which is not how it happened in the MCU, obviously. So, I don't know. Hey, intriguing. So there you go. There's your rest of 2024 and all the way through 2025 slate for Marvel animation and Marvel television on Disney Plus. Obviously, there's some movies, but hey, we'll get to those shortly. But first, we got to go back to the thing I think Andrew was maybe pretty excited about. I don't know. He can talk about it. Marvel Animation's What If? Season 3, like I said, we're going to be getting a new episode daily starting on December 22nd. So you get a nice, kind of Christmas gift. I don't know if we'll have a Christmas episode again this time, but either way, this is the third and final season of What If, 8 episodes. We see lots going on in this trailer. Like fucking Voltron Avengers, which is pretty sick.
Voltron Avengers, dude.
But
pretty cool.
Megazords.
Megazords. What'd you see in this trailer that stood out for you? I know you're a What If fan already, but what particularly has you pretty hyped?
A show that could continue on forever, endlessly.
Apparently, it's not. But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's not. I see a show that has a 3-season arc. The last season has 8 episodes. The last season has Voltron. It's got a Western deal going into it. It's got I mainly remember Voltron, to be fair. This fucking incredible looking.
It's a big part of it, yeah.
But it's a wildly creative show that has loose arcs, and I'm excited to see it conclude. You know, I say it every time. I like a story that's got a beginning, middle, and an end. And I feel like you can really distill the quality of the stories that you're trying to tell when you know that you're not telling the story over 24 episodes or whatever. You know what I mean? It forces you to really think about how you want to tell a story and what you want to tell. And I'm a big fan of What If, and this looks like it's a return to force, and I couldn't be more excited for it. I'm excited about the schedule that they released the episodes on. I think it's really awesome. It really leverages the power of a streaming platform. And I think I really enjoy everything about this show. So I couldn't be more excited for it.
Yeah, I was surprised it's ending after 3. I was like, oh yeah, I kind of had a similar thought that this would just go on forever because it's an infinite kind of premise. But they have tied in the stories.
Yeah, that's true. They definitely
the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Tried to bring each season together, the characters together, have some sort of overarching story. Right.
Which is cool. I enjoyed the ending. I liked season 2 more than season 1. I think they got a little bit further away from the MCU while still playing in that sandbox. And I think if season 3 does more of that, I'll like it more. I think I just want to see things that are really creative and aren't just making minor tweaks to the MCU, but like really having a drastic, like a what if this is creates a whole ripple effect, like truly. And you get to learn different things about different characters. Yeah. So
I am Storm.
I'm hopeful for that, and I think I want to see new characters. I saw a Fantastic Four logo that got me excited because I said we need to bring the Fantastic Four to this, and throw Blade in there. Like, just throw characters that like this is a different universe. They don't have to show up in the live action MCU. Have Marshall Ali do his first appearance as Blade in here because he may not get one in the movies. I think have fun with it.
It reminds me, I think we actually see a version of Blade in the brief snippet of Marvel Zombies that we saw in the last trailer. So that might be the debut of.
So
he wasn't. Have fun with his voice was heard in Eternals, but his likeness may be the first scene in Marvel Zombies, which is kind of funny in its own sort of way. What if you could go so many fucking places with this, and Andrew got excited and was saying it, but the end of this trailer, man, shows you the potential, fucking goddess of thunder, Storm, the voice is iconic. Now you're bringing in maybe X-Men characters. Like, I don't know if this is just going to be a one-off sort of deal, but like, go for it. Honestly, like the mechs thing is like, we're not seeing fucking mechs, in the regular MCU, so go for it. That's the sort of thing that excites me less so than, or more so than like, I don't know, what if this character was kind of like that character? Okay. They'd wear a different costume, I guess, so, and I feel like we definitely got a lot of that in the first season. Well, maybe a little in the second, but maybe less so. But yeah, go fucking hog wild, go bonkers, do crazy shit with it now that especially since this is the last season. I hope that they are going kind of balls to the wall with all of it. So I'm excited to see, some of the newer MCU additions, seeing Shang-Chi, seeing Moon Knight. I don't know, probably some others. Kate Bishop, I think, is in there too. I'm excited to see those characters. We see more of Kahori, who's her episode was fantastic in the second season. So I'm excited to see, them kind of pushing in these weird and different and maybe hopefully truly unexpected directions. I think that's kind of really the most exciting thing about What If. So, and Jeffrey Wright, he's great, obviously, too. So credit where credit is due. Really looking forward to it. December 22nd, we'll be getting them. Wraps up December 29th. Nice way to kind of round out the year in terms of Marvel stuff, I would say. So very much looking forward to that, as it sounds like we all are. Now, again, flipping over the calendar to 2025, we've got 2 last trailers to talk about, and these are the next 2 movies in sequence for Marvel Studios. So, stepping away from Marvel Television, Marvel Animation, going to proper Marvel Studios with the movies. February 14th, Valentine's Day, we're getting Captain America, Brave New World. I know we've talked about it a few times, but we did get another trailer for it, so we're going to talk about it again. A lot of new footage in this, I think. I mean, I don't know that this is necessarily presenting a very different version of the movie. Like, I think we had a pretty good sense of what the movie was going to be from the other trailers, but we're seeing a lot more stuff here. You know, some more action-y type things with, Cap flying around with the wings, and some more Red Hulk stuff getting shown here with the Harrison Ford. But yeah, temperature check. How's everyone feeling about Brave New World?
The trailer itself is pretty cool. Like, this is the second trailer now.
It's a stylish trailer,
I'm watching this. I'm like gonna watch it, but I'm not super hyped for this as I was for Winter Soldier or Civil War. But I watched the trailer and I'm like, damn, that's a pretty cool trailer. Just stylized, and it's got the thriller elements, and I'm like, oh, okay, and like really kind of get me in with this trailer. So I quite liked it.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, what are you thinking?
Same thing. After the Marvel Plus show that we got, I was like,
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Right. What are we doing?
It's fine.
And but I will say, that I think they may have changed marketing people. I feel like this trailer.
I think all of the trailers that we got were much better edited than what we've seen from Marvel in the past.
There's more
I think maybe they changed companies or what happened, or just I don't know. Something has changed.
Something has changed. You can really feel it because these last two, and especially this last. We'll talk about the last one here in a bit, but yeah, I'm real excited about Brave New World. I feel real good about it. It looks very cool. The trailer was very well crafted. That's what I will say.
Right. Hopefully not a case of trailer being better than the final product, which happens sometimes.
Right. But if you can't sell the trailer, then why should I go watch your movie?
Sure.
Absolutely. You're damn right. You got a minute and a half to sell some awesome shit without revealing too much. And I really like the style of like the gray text and stuff in this.
Yeah.
It made it feel kind of thrillery,
yeah. It's definitely given thriller for sure.
I almost feel like you give the same treatment to Winter Soldier. You could have made a trailer in this vein and it would have felt really good.
Yeah.
And it's like at the end of the day, is it going to have a lot of superhero stuff? Like, yeah, it's fucking Captain America fighting Red Hulk at the end. Like, it is kind of the same thing, almost.
Who's
like
pulling the strings, though?
I don't know. I know. I think I have a pretty good guess of who's pulling the strings.
Dr. Doom, you think?
I don't know. I won't. We only have a few months to wait, man. So I don't know if I should tell you. Maybe I don't even know. Maybe I don't even know for sure.
We'll see. But I'm pretty happy with the trailer. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I like the tone in this one. I think that it's like Winter Soldier, where it is a thriller in terms of its inspiration, but it's not. It doesn't seem to be purporting to be like just a thriller. Like, it's clearly a heightened superhero, big action. We see the fucking Celestial in the ocean. At one point, like, it's clearly larger than life, so that at the end, when it is Red Hulk versus Captain America, I mean, first of all, Captain America, I hope he got some super soldier serum because he's going to get cooked real fast.
He did cut that car in half, though. It was pretty sweet.
It was pretty cool. He's got some pretty strong wings, maybe some...
And his fucking knees, dude.
Going on there.
Like, he landed a sonic boom, and then everybody got blown away. His fucking knees. My knees were screaming when I saw him land. Don't do it! Don't do it!
He's got some he's got shock absorbers built into his suit, so he can't feel a thing. I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of like the way Winter Soldier was, a good balance of, yes, obviously this is fucking ridiculous.
That's okay,
but it still kind of has that sort of feel, that sort of thrillery sort of feel that that sets it apart from regular standard superhero movie. It's like what Kraven is trying to do, like super serious thing, but then also a big rhino fight at the end. But it seems to not have found the right balance, at least in my assessment. But anyway, Captain America Brave New World. Experience it in theaters, IMAX, Dolby, February 14th. Take your wife, take your kid. Maybe not. Maybe don't take him. Take your wife, man. It's a nice romantic night out with Cap. Yeah. With Cap.
I hope they do a lot with Isaiah Bradley. It seems like he's an integral part to this, and there's so much to that character. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Falcon and Winter Soldier was like I liked that show, but it could have been so much more, and I feel like it would have been better as a 2-hour movie. And so my kind of hope is if this is kind of that, it's a little tighter and it kind of has the better aspects of that show in a tighter, bigger budgeted sort of package. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's kind of what this looks like. It's definitely a continuation, but I hope a refinement as well. And so let's move on to our last trailer, which technically they put out a teaser trailer for this movie a couple of months back, and then they just put out this big, almost 4-minute long special look at D23 Brazil just a couple days ago. So I just figured we'd just slide on over and talk about the big, almost 4-minute thing for Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts.
I thought that was a little long.
It's a little longer. It's a little longer than a standard trailer. You probably wouldn't be seeing it in a movie theater before a Gladiator 2 or anything like that. But yeah, definitely a pretty expansive look at what the movie has to offer. Obviously, showing off a bit of a set piece in the beginning, showing off kind of who these characters are on this team, giving us little slivers of them, and it's kind of the discarded characters, I think, from other pockets of the MCU. Yelena from Black Widow, and I guess we saw her briefly in Hawkeye. John Walker from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which we just talked about. Bucky's here. Red Guardian. You know, you want to do some fun Russian accents. Clearly David Harbour's having a blast here. Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Taskmaster, who's also barely in this fucking trailer, from Black Widow as well.
Poor Taskmaster.
So yeah. How are we feeling about Thunderbolts based on this? I think kind of an unknown thing of like, what is this movie going to be? And I think we have a pretty good idea. So I'm curious to see if you guys are intrigued, interested, excited. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I think you mentioned you like the trailer. I like this as well. I think giving a little bit more. This is kind of the property that you do need to give more of a tease, right? Because it doesn't just sell itself. It's not Spider-Man. Right? It's not, by now Iron Man and Captain America kind of sell themselves. Whereas like you're going to go this like are you going for Taskmaster? Like not the MCU one probably. So no, it was a cool display of what they got. And I like the product that they put out. Like it's kind of simple as that. Like they're putting out better trailers that at least get me excited for that. And if you can't do that, then why?
Yeah, I mean, right. Totally agree. Andrew, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think this sold a little bit more soul than what we've been given before. It looks like I don't know. Looks a little bit. It looks comedic. It looks I don't know. I wasn't big on it before, and now I feel like I think this is a movie that I would like to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's as simple as that. There's just more dimensions to it now than kind of what there was before, I think. So if it's the same people that crafted the New World Order trailer, I think that that's a good advertising firm. You should probably keep with them. I think they're doing a good job.
Yeah. I agree. I was always kind of intrigued by this project in the sense that, like, it's cool to see these characters kind of pop back up, but it was kind of also the same question of like, well, we don't really seem to be getting like a true Avengers movie or anything like that, and haven't in this phase really, and obviously we're getting the big ones with Doomsday and Secret Wars, so this is kind of just like an oddball team up movie, and it really seems to be kind of leaning more in that direction of a Suicide Squad type of thing, which I think is kind of what it needs to be, and I should say the Suicide Squad more so than regular Suicide Squad in terms of movie comparisons. It looks fun. I think at the end of the day, to me, it looks fun. Like, it looks like the characters have good rapport. No one likes each other, but like they're not supposed to. Everyone's kind of probably morally gray or questionable in terms of, what they do, what they've done, and stuff. So I think that's really kind of interesting to see these characters. And, this special look answered a big burning question that we all had. Who the fuck bought Avengers Tower? It was that lady. She bought it. She did it. She's got a streak in her hair. She can afford it.
That's pretty
so
cool.
It wasn't cheap. So, but Thunderbolts Tower, maybe. Well, they can't call themselves that for some reason. I don't know if it's because the president is nicknamed Thunderbolt, so they can't be affiliated with the government. I'm curious to see if they tie it in some
that
way.
Doesn't stop you in real life, does it? Like, you could.
I don't know.
Do shit like that.
Probably could. You probably could. All right. Well, this is coming out May 2nd of 2025. And that will be the next one after Brave New World. I think there's one more in 2025. Now I'm blanking on what it will be, but I'm pretty sure there's one more film set up for probably the back half of 2025. Let's find out if that's true. Maybe that's just when Blade was supposed to come out.
Avengers film, I think initially was 2025.
Oh, here we go. Of course. Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four is coming out in 2025 as well. So that's July.
Big year.
So we've got 3 coming between all of those. So yeah, I'm getting Captain America, Thunderbolts, and the Fantastic Four. Once upon a time, Blade would have been how they finished the year, but we all know how that story goes. So we won't be getting that. But that's it. That's it for the trailers. That's it for everything. It's time then, I think, if everyone's ready to move along to Agatha All Along.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Agatha All Along. All 9 episodes are streaming on Disney Plus this very second. Show is created by Jack Schaefer. Coming back. She was a showrunner on WandaVision as well. Agatha All Along stars Kathryn Hahn, Joe Locke, Deborah Jo Rupp, Aubrey Plaza, Sashir Zamata, Ali Ahn, and Patti LuPone. 3 years after being trapped under a magical spell in the town of Westview, New Jersey, a.k.a. go watch WandaVision, the witch Agatha Harkness escapes with the help of a goth teen who wishes to face the trials of the legendary Witch's Road, which is why maybe there's a ballad for it. So, this wrapped up, I think, just before Halloween, so we're only a couple weeks late. Not too bad. How did everyone watch this? I think, Henrique, you might have been the first among us to finish. Were you watching on a weekly basis?
Yes,
not strictly weekly.
I waited a little bit,
Okay.
and then I think I caught up by episode 4, and then we were mostly on a week-to-week basis, and obviously the finale was a double episode.
Right. That's true. Yep. What about you, Andrew? I think you and I might have been closer, maybe erratic pacing, but...
That's exactly what it was. Erratic pacing. I finished the last 2 episodes Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, okay.
So a couple days.
I think you started earlier, so I feel like you kind of stretched it a good ways. I think I started later, probably closer to Henrique, and then I went a little binge, with it. I think, I guess it would have been Monday night. Or Sunday night. Can't remember. I don't know. A couple nights ago. Watched, I think, 3 or 4 in one night and then finished it the next night. So, all post-Halloween. But yeah, got through.
It was good for a couple episodes a watch. You know
Definitely.
What I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely a show that I think bingeable for sure. I think overall in terms of just pacing and all that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's how we watched it. Now we turn to what we thought about Agatha All Along, the least expensive TV show that Marvel Studios has ever put out there. Did it look like a cheap piece of shit? Was it a cheap piece of shit? Did it suck? Did the fact that they didn't spend as much money as Secret Invasion mean that it's worse than Secret Invasion? I don't know. What do you guys think? How'd you guys enjoy Agatha All Along?
So I liked WandaVision quite a bit. It was one of my top. Still, Loki has a special place for me. Disney
Loki's
Plus
good. Yeah.
MCU shows, but
I think WandaVision. That was like the first
there.
one too, right? And so really,
right, but that was right there.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I think what what brought me interest was like, oh, this was a cool character. I'm like, does this character need her own show, like an entire thing? So I had a lot of questions going in, but I was like, it's glitchy. It's kind of going to be this kind of more focused concept, and it's mostly exactly what I hoped it would be, like a fun ride with a very compelling lead in Catherine Hahn, and really great supporting cast, I will say. Like, probably one of the stronger Marvel Disney Plus supporting casts that we've had so far, in my opinion. I just really liked pretty much everyone that was there, and some surprises along the way. It didn't look cheap to me. I just enjoyed it, and I think I got more invested as it went on, kind of somewhere towards the middle, closer to like middle end was kind of the peak for me. And those episodes I just really enjoyed. I remember watching them and finishing at the cliffhanger or at the end and just being like, oh yeah, I'm ready for the next one. Like, I'm excited to go see more. So that, I feel like I haven't had that from a Marvel show since Loki, really. Yeah, so this kind of brought me back to what I enjoy. And in the end, this ended up coming out towards the upper echelon for me of the Marvel shows. And I don't think I really was expecting that. So I was pleasantly surprised at what I got.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew, do you feel similarly? Do you feel differently? How do you feel? What do you feel?
I do feel differently. I feel differently. It makes me wonder if I was a little too cynical on this show. It is quite the high praise from our Marvel expert. For me, I think that the show was inconsistent in its delivery on episodes, right? Like, I thought some shows I thought some episodes were more interesting than others. With the episode count that we got, I think that's a pretty big detriment because it feels like it should be pretty tight with the episodes that we have. Like the pacing felt like it should be pretty solid too, because I mean we're getting an episode per. Like the premise of the show is there's like essentially one.
Get like a trial per episode.
A trial. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
roughly maps out to.
Yeah, so I felt like it should have been pretty consistent with its delivery and the pacing. It felt like it was a very deliberate way to structure the show, and I appreciated that. I thought it could be pretty cool. It's just I don't know, just something was missing on some episodes, and maybe it's because of the way I watched it, because there were such big gaps in my viewing experience. I thought some performances were significantly better than other performances. I thought that certain characters got a whole lot more to chew on than other characters, and I felt that the void between performances was quite large, and for that it kind of detracted from me too. I really enjoyed that fucking song though.
It's a banger.
Song was a total banger.
Total banger.
And I like the way that the song. I really appreciated the way the story was crafted, and the twists and turns. And I think it really went places. I think it did a really good job of going the places that it wanted to go to. But like I said, I felt like the pacing was a little, I don't know, just, it felt like it was all in on certain episodes, and other episodes, like it tried to do too much and it spread it thin. And then, like I said, the performances kind of varied for me. But I really, 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 I think the high point of the show is what it explored and how it went there. And I thought that part was really interesting. I think it explored some really cool stuff, and in a really cool way. So, I don't know. It's a nuanced show. It was a nuanced experience for myself.
Okay.
How
are you, Cole?
I think I'm gonna have to fall more in line with Henrique and my personal thoughts on it. I thought this show was a blast, pretty much episode 1 to episode 9. I think it is a show. I appreciated that it felt almost like WandaVision in the sense that it had this idea of each episode kind of having some sort of theme, but I appreciated it wasn't just doing the WandaVision thing over and over and over again, where it was like, this is a different TV genre, this is a different sitcom genre. You know, it didn't really do that.
Yeah, it did not.
For its full sequence, but it still managed. It did.
Totally.
It did initially, and then it veered away from that, and then it kind of did it in other, I think, different, unique ways that set it apart from WandaVision, while still kind of giving it that sort of unique feel where each, like, this thing to me is very different from a lot of other Marvel television things, where a lot of those, you think about Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki probably to a lesser extent, but maybe Hawkeye and the others were like, they're probably 2.5 hour movies that have been kind of stretched out, you know, and splayed out a little further than they really needed to be. This to me is a show that seems like WandaVision was kind of built from the ground up to be a TV show, to take advantage of the episodic format by making the episodes themselves feel very distinct from each other and kind of relatively self-contained. Like, here's a trial, or here's a backstory, or, you know, here's a Mayor of Easttown parody for basically most of this episode, which is the first episode, not a spoiler. So I think that to me really, really worked. Like, I found that each episode kind of gripped me in different ways and was really fun, played with a lot of kind of, I don't know, like traditional horror-y sorts of things. Like, obviously there's tons of witchy stuff throughout, but, you know, you get like creatures and kind of weird shit, you know, happening here and there. I don't know. I think to me, it just felt like it really struck the right sort of tone and always kept it interesting and kept me on my toes in terms of being twisty and turny in terms of kind of where the plot goes. And I thought it was anchored by a really strong cast. I'm curious to, maybe we'll wait for spoilers, but I'm curious to see who Andrew thought wasn't as strong in the cast, because I thought across the board, everyone was pretty good in my assessment. I think Catherine Hahn is awesome in this role. I mean,
yeah, she nailed it.
I think it's a tough show to make in the sense that, like, WandaVision, you know, you're making a show about the Scarlet Witch, you're making a show about Vision, two characters who definitely, you know, I enjoyed a lot, you know, going in. I was really looking forward to that because I liked those characters prior, you know, seeing them in, you know, prior installments in the MCU. But it was a really interesting, you know, exploration of the depth of those characters, the depth of their relationship, and obviously the tragedy that had kind of befallen them. And that was really kind of neat to see. Like, they're heroic characters. You wanted to know more about them and kind of how they process grief and trauma and tragedy and stuff like that. And here you have kind of just an asshole villain, you know, as your main character. And that's a really difficult thing to pull off in some ways of, you know, the way, like, Infinity War did it well of, like, yeah, Thanos fucking sucks and he's done horrible, awful things. But at the end of the day, when you finish that movie, I mean, obviously you're devastated by the fact that Thanos won, but the movie itself kind of at least let you in on a little bit of what makes Thanos tick, and that really worked. Like, you know, even if you don't believe that Thanos was right, blah blah blah, like, you still understood why he was doing what he was doing, which is a really hard thing to do, I think, with villains, and not just making them one note villainous. And I think this show kind of walked the line and did it in a really, really good way of telling you the story of a villain who, at the end of the day, is a villain, but, you know, has her moments, I guess, but isn't a heroic character. You know, it's a tougher sell. It's a different thing, and it is also kind of like the things that I always kind of, when they announced this show, was kind of just like, oh, that's weird. I mean, Catherine Hahn was great in WandaVision. Everyone loved her, and, you know, the Agatha All Along song was very fun and enjoyable in that. But it's like, I don't know. Did anyone ask for this? Like, am I supposed to care? I don't really need an Agatha show. It's not a character to me that screams like she needs her own TV show, not 9 episodes. But I'll be damned if I mean, at least, you know, again, for me, they really pulled it off, I thought, you know, of giving me a reason to care, if not about her necessarily, to at least be intrigued enough by her and be, you know, intrigued by Catherine Hahn's performance and the way that she, you know, delivers everything with this role. The story I thought was really interesting. The supporting cast they surrounded her with, I thought were very compelling and interesting, and all kind of, I don't know, I think the way that all the story kind of built up and wrapped up, I thought was to me pretty satisfying. So I enjoyed it. The tone, the feel, the style of it, you know, like, it's very, very spooky, Halloween, hocus pocus, these sorts of vibes. I think overall, to me, it all just really, really worked. I had a blast with it. Like, it to me felt very bingeable, possibly rewatchable. Can't confirm. I've only seen it once. But I think I just really enjoyed it. And I'll save my further thoughts, I guess, probably for spoilers, because I think that's probably where we can really dive into it and see maybe where our opinions diverged in some ways. But I had a really, really good time with Agatha All Along, and I think, like Henrique, I wasn't necessarily expecting it because it wasn't anything that I wanted or asked for. But in some ways, I think that made it the pleasant surprise. Is just, it's kind of nice having something just delivered to me that I didn't know that I wanted or thought I might really enjoy as much as I did. But here we are, So, so that's my thoughts on Agatha All Along. So we should do a recommendation, then we'll dive into spoilery goodness. Lots and lots to get into there. Yeah, for sure. I think the bulk of the conversation will be saved there. So TV recommendation is 5 tiers. We have very yes at the very top, followed by yes, and then middle ground of totally fine, going down to fine, and then the very bottom is shithouse. So I don't think anyone's going to go quite to shithouse tier on this one. I don't think we need to do that. But yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, I expect Andrew's will be lower.
Yeah, I want to see what Andrew, where you're kind of.
I think this is a fine show.
What are you sliding? Fine, just fine, or totally fine? Middle ground or below middle ground? Let's go there.
No. It's above middle ground. It's above middle ground show.
Totally
so
fine.
Yes, it's a yes show.
Or yes.
It's a yes show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm trying for? What's the highest one?
Highest is very yes, and then if you go below that, you would go to yes.
Yeah, it's a yes show. It's a yes show for me.
All right, I was like,
that's what I was.
You really didn't like it.
No, it's definitely a yes show. It's. I think when it. Maybe when I was talking about it earlier.
Seems to be inconsistent for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what it was.
And that's what it is. And I think it's because the stuff that it does do good, in my opinion, I think it does really fucking good. And the stuff that I find interesting is not prevalent throughout the entire show, right? But when it is there, it's really, really good, and it's kind of like I just want more of that.
Okay,
I think that it's a good spooky show, and I think it picks up good. It's a good continuation of the thing that came before it, and I think I think it's I think the biggest critique I could have is I mostly enjoyed it, and I just thought that even when I found it inconsistent, it's not that I found that those inconsistencies were. It's not like it's not Game of Thrones inconsistency. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But it's got high highs, and it can't sustain it the whole way for you.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's a very fair assessment.
And so. Yeah, it made it kind of a topsy-turvy ride to a certain extent. Not to a terrible detriment, but I mean, like I said, it did. But
it held it back.
It made it to where I watched the episodes in 2 to 3 chunks versus I'm coming back every week to watch it. You know what I'm saying? And that's about the kind of the vibe I got.
Okay, all right. Henrique, I guess the bar has been set at yes.
Yeah.
The question.
No, I thought about this.
Do you stick with that, or do you think it goes above that?
I think there's plenty of Marvel shows that I'm like, I enjoy Marvel stuff, but I can't recommend this on the highest very yes tier. I think I can't. I personally will put this on the very yes for me, just because I did enjoy this, and I thought that overall the quality was good. There are certainly, I can see the inconsistencies where you're talking about, Andrew, and in the spoilers, I want to touch a little bit about the ending, because that's probably one of my biggest issues with the show and what kept it from being, I guess, not necessarily a perfect show, but like just a slam dunk amazing, like
not all top tier, but
like the best MCU show. And this became like one that I like quite a bit, and not up on the top tier ish, like the top echelon, I guess. But I'm gonna give it a very yes, and I'll talk about some things that maybe didn't work as well for me. But overall, as a package, I wanted to recommend it. Eastling, watch this show. It's one of the few Marvel shows I've gotten her to watch with me since probably WandaVision, which was the first show. So it's been a while, but I was like, it's about witches. It's Catherine Hahn. She liked WandaVision, so I know we did watch Hawkeye together, but I think she probably enjoyed this more than Hawkeye. So, 2 recommendations there.
Yeah. So did you slide up to very yes?
I will solidify the very yes.
All right, yes. You will go above Andrew. Yeah, yes. Okay. I am going to co-sign the very yes then as well. I again had a blast with it. I think to the point of Celine watching this, I think maybe one of the better things about this show relative to other Marvel shows is it's pretty self-contained.
Yeah.
I mean, would you benefit from watching WandaVision at least before this? I think so, yes. But I think the show does enough in its own. I think that if you just want witchy, spooky shit and you don't care about Marvel stuff, I think you could probably watch the show and get away with it, I think, for the most part. In terms of some of the spoilery stuff, like, there's definitely some MCU connections and other things that you're not really going to care about or get the same sort of enjoyment out that maybe, the 3 of us might, perhaps. But I do think it has a good amount of crossover appeal in a way that a lot of the Marvel TV shows probably don't to the same extent. I think probably closer to what WandaVision did, because it was kind of doing this fun thing with genres, or with I guess with sitcom decades, I guess more so than genres. This one is very much, I think, can appeal to a lot of people. I think its cast is kind of very varied in terms of ages of these actors and kind of, the types of. I mean, you got Patti LuPone in here, and like that's kind of.
Dude, I didn't realize Patti LuPone is 75.
Yeah, I mean,
that's wild. She's fucking crushing it.
And obviously, like Aubrey Plaza, every time we talked about the show before it came out, Andrew noted very clearly on the record how much of a fan he was, and I think that's a very valid take to have. Catherine Hahn's great, and so it's like, I don't know, there's some like really good, talented people in this, and it's just kind of a oddball combination that feels very unlike traditional Marvel things that we get. So I think that is worth noting, in my assessment of, like, you could totally dig this show even if you don't give a flying fuck about Marvel. I think if you like Marvel, I think that this is really fun. Again, it kind of builds, on obviously what came before it, sets things up probably, for the future, for a Vision series to pick up the torch from or whatever. But I think that you probably will still find something relatively complete and enjoyable in this show. So for me, it's a very yes. I think to me, it just kind of knocked it out of the park in a lot of different respects. Did I like episodes better than other episodes? Yes. Did I think some were done better than others? Yes. Is it a perfect show? No. Is it top tier Marvel? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if it ever got me quite as hyped as some of the other Marvel shit did. But in the same vein, like I recognize that, like, this wasn't a show that I walked into being so fucking pumped about, that I knew, like, when I watched Daredevil Born Again in March, and if it fucking delivers on what I hope it delivers on, it will deliver higher highs for me on a personal level than Agatha All Along ever possibly could. But I think it's a testament to Agatha as a show that it got me pretty fucking jazzed and pretty hyped, even though it wasn't necessarily like the thing most on my radar, of things that came out this year. So yeah, that's my very yes recommendation, to maybe sell it to some people that hadn't seen it yet, or
are thinking about
maybe
it.
We're steering clear because it's a Marvel show and there are eight shows behind because there's too much shit to catch up on, which is a totally valid, reasonable stance to have, because there is a lot of fucking shit out there. And indeed, in the last few years, not all of it has been great. Not all of it has been good. Even it's been fine, or some have called some of these things bad. Secret Invasion, one might say, was bad.
That's true. That was very bad.
So, yeah. So I think we should get into it now. I think we should cast a spell and talk some spoiler. I was trying to do something more clever with that, but whatever. Full spoilers for Agatha All Along. I'm putting a sigil on people that haven't watched the show but are still here, so that everything they're hearing is just, something like that.
And then when shows up, it's like, oh yeah, and then I didn't realize that like there was a cameo.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Marvel. Yeah, so good. Where's my paycheck? So what do you guys want to talk about in spoilers for Agatha All Along? We can jump around. Obviously, each episode kind of has its own thing, but maybe do you want to start by expanding on some of the thoughts that we've kind of expressed already?
Yeah, totally.
Andrew, I'm most curious to hear, I guess, rather, although I can't see you. The listeners cannot. Who did you think wasn't as good in this cast? What were the kind of episodes that didn't hit the mark as much for you? I'm curious.
You're going to ask me episodic questions.
I feel like you had these general thoughts. I'm curious to hear more specifics.
Beginning, middle, end, like where were things?
The middle is where the beginning I was all in. I really enjoyed the specifically the first episode.
The Marraby's Town stuff.
Yeah, I really, really thoroughly 110% enjoyed that shit. I thought that was excellent.
The super exaggerated Delco accent was a particular joy for me.
I enjoyed her performance the entire way through the show. Yes. She felt very exaggerated in a lot of aspects, totally. The way that she moved her lips and her hands, and she had a real body performance deal this entire show, and I was all there for it. I thought it was very good, especially when she was exaggerating the way she talked, specifically to
loser,
total loser.
She's totally phoning in some Jim Carrey shit, and it was fucking amazing. It was very good. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I just couldn't dial it in with our main guy. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of got some Luke Skywalker teenager vibes a little bit.
Well, he is a teenager, so
yeah, he is. He's
he's literally teen. Most of the show.
I just struggled. There were times where I was there for it, and there were other times where I was like, I don't know. I just didn't identify with his performance. I couldn't dial it in. I couldn't find it. I couldn't get. Yeah, it didn't sync up with me. You know what I mean?
You've never
not in the way that
you've never been the fictionalized realization of a character brought to life and then transfer it as a soul shard into another character's body.
No, I can't say that's ever happened to me. And that made it difficult. I just struggled. I understand the angst, the teen angst, and I don't fit in, and this and that. That's usually pretty easy, the emo vibe or whatever. It's cool. Yeah. I get that. But it just kind of, I don't know. There was something about him that I just didn't quite groove with. I guess it's not that I didn't groove with it. I don't know. I didn't find him in terror. I think that his performance was overshadowed by all the other performances. It just wasn't as strong. You know what I mean? And I think maybe it was because all the other performances were so incredibly not bombastic, but there was a lot of depth to a lot of these other characters. There was depth to his character too, don't get me wrong, but the performances were Han's performance that's top tier shit. You know what I mean? And then you're sharing the space with him, and not that his performance was terrible, but it's just not to the same echelon. To use that word, it's it created quite the dynamic between the two performances. It was quite stark.
Okay. You didn't buy into his character. It sounds like
I didn't buy into his character. Yeah. Like I said, it was just yeah, and it went places. His character went places, like the fact that he took over the body. That was cool. And that was, I wasn't expecting that. And then, that he's looking for his brother. That's interesting. That's cool too. I found Agatha's character just infinitely more. I just found her just way more compelling. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I think it's easier to grasp her role in the show too, right? Like her character and like the beginnings of her character with her kid and this and that. And maybe I just didn't need a whole lot else. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like that was enough for me. I don't know. But the performance dynamics was I thought that was quite stark.
Yeah, I mean, very different roles. I mean, I know.
Way different roles.
I think, if nothing else, I mean, certainly the angsty teen is a less fun role than, the witching about and. I mean, and there's like a story, like a baked in story reason for why Catherine Hahn is kind of just goofing around for the entire series, and it's like it's very joyful to watch. Like it's awesome to watch. She's great. But I think that maybe that's something that you could point to as why it's not resonating.
And maybe it's an Alec Guinness versus Mark Hamill teen performance.
Return the power converters to Tashi Station.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this fucking guy. What are you doing?
Just wait till the next one. He's gonna be so cool now. Like,
maybe that's the case. Man. It's cool. Whatever. But I don't know. That was my biggest critique. Just whenever he was kind of, let's just be blunt. I'll be blunt about it. Trying to dance around it. Just whenever he was kind of just bitching on screen, just specifically like the middle-ish to like kind of the endish. Like once he discovered he could do a little bit, but he couldn't like he just kind of flickered because he had to be angry when he did it. It just that area right there is just like, oh, it just kind of fell flat for me. And so everything's kind of moving forward, and he's just kind of bitching about stuff. I don't know. He just kind of annoyed me a little bit. That's all.
Okay. You didn't go for the pluck and the angstiness.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just a little too angsty.
Too old for that shit now. Can't relate anymore. You didn't have your goth teen phase.
Just fucking crotchety. I'm a crotchety old man now, The fuck? Get over your shit,
Those
dude.
damn kids.
Okay?
And they're shit.
Oh, man. I don't know how many years old, and then transferred over to another body and has these parents and these other parents. It's tough.
It is. Yeah. Okay.
It's a very strange situation to be in. That's for sure.
I really enjoyed that last episode, though.
All right. Well, it sounds like, Henrique, you had some different thoughts on the last episode, so let's just jump around. Let's get into it. What?
Yeah, my biggest gripe is kind of the ending. So
the very ending, like the
very or kind of where things left off with characters. Like so I really enjoyed how it started. I thought it was like getting its footing for a couple episodes, and then in the middle, I found that it really hit its footing. So we're on the Witch's Road. We have the entire cast there. Aubrey Plaza's character comes in, and I feel like it's just firing. Like it knows how to use each character. You're doing different trials, and it just makes it really interesting. It's fun. It's kind of each episode is making me wonder about the next one. And then I think my biggest gripe with it is that I just didn't feel like it landed the plane on particularly Agatha's character. I just felt like she was going through this journey throughout, and I like her sacrifice, quote unquote, but then we spent a whole episode with her focusing on the relationship with her son, and that didn't fully get resolved here, and maybe that gets resolved later, but I feel like this was her show, and I kind of wanted to see that resolution of her being able to confront her son after he died. And I think doing that as a ghost is fine, but it's just the fact that she had the sacrifice but decided not to go, and then just kind of gets stuck, and like now we're going to help Wiccan to find Tommy. which is fine. I liked the character arc for Billy Maximoff, Teen, Wiccan, however you want to call him. But I just didn't get a full satisfaction of where Agatha's character finished at the end of the series. And I think that's the last thing that I needed to like really feel like everything just hit for me. So that's kind of the aspect that I wish had been a little bit different.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I guess maybe if that sort of cuts against my argument of this is self-contained, anyone can enjoy it, is you're not wrong in the sense that like Agatha's character will continue and we don't have a full resolution of her kind of, like where she is emotionally in terms of where her story is. Like she clearly still has part of her arc to experience. It's not full redemption. It's not, I'm a hero now, but it is coming to grips with the loss of her child, and she's now spent decades, centuries avoiding having to really face that head on. Instead, she's just kind of chosen to, do the WandaVision thing and do what she does throughout the most of this show and siphon power from witches and all that stuff. But yeah, no, that's a very valid point. And so I wasn't as bothered by it, but I think it's definitely a very valid thing to point out at the same time. So, agreed. Andrew, you liked the finale though? You think? I think we were getting there.
I like the finale. I mean, I enjoyed the, albeit I think it was predictable. I thought it was a little predictable that maybe maybe Agatha is not as villainous as, well, she's kind of fucking villainous. She killed a lot of fucking
She
people.
is pretty still. I mean, I think that the show keeps her on a pretty straight villainous track where, I mean, obviously she does do the thing of not just giving Billy over to Rio and instead, basically experiencing the kiss of death. But she's still pretty villainous at the end of the day, I think. So
who can blame her,
Well, I mean, that's a valid point. So many valid points. Everything's valid.
I just I enjoyed the whole time piece situation. Where she's the period piece where she's
that's cool.
I thought it was interesting. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and it's an interesting way to end the show too, because it's really like probably the most backstory you get on Agatha herself. I mean, throughout the first 8 episodes, everything's kind of a joke to her, which makes sense given the context of what you learn in the 9th episode, where it's just like, oh, I've never done this before. This is all kind of usually bullshit for me. This is
the whole road, and
the whole road is a crock of shit, which is that was really fun and clever. I really, really enjoyed that. It felt so perfect for like something that her character would do, is just this huge con of, tricking people and stealing powers and shit like that was great. So, yeah. And again, to look back, this is a show I think is rewatchable because there's a lot of context that is missing from the character interactions and like what, like, the way that, even Agatha is reacting to things throughout the Witch's Road, where it's like, that's kind of weird. Is that just Catherine Hahn being a big goofball having fun on set? But no, it's really because she's like, oh, this is, weird shit. And
what the fuck is going on?
Well, I think she clues into very, very quickly that I think that, that Billy Maximoff has something to do with it. Only the son of the Scarlet Witch would make something so dramatic, or however she puts it, So I think that was really interesting. It adds a lot more dimensions, I think, to the overall show, with the added context of what you learn in this episode about Agatha herself, but also about how it has, affected everything you've seen to that point too.
Well, I think that last episode was cool because the twist, obviously, you know what I mean. He manipulates reality to the point where he created the road. I think that was cool.
Yeah, neat, very neat. Inspired by his bedroom.
yeah, that's a neat twist. The Agatha ghost. Whatever.
Little hokey. She got white hair though, so it's like comics accurate now, man. It's cool.
A little hokey though, whatever.
But the whole show is hinging on a little hokey the whole way.
Right.
Yeah.
I do like Plaza as like half skeleton face.
Let's talk about this. All right. So, I mean, big deal here. We're getting the introduction of Lady Death into the MCU. And Aubrey Plaza, I mean, perfect casting. I mean,
nails it.
She's fantastic in this show. I mean, she's a standout. Another character who, like, I mean, again, added context if you watch the show with the added knowledge of, oh, she's Death the whole time. But also makes sense in the sense that it's like, yeah, she's not, like from the beginning, she's clearly has this sort of personality, which is kind of what Aubrey Plaza does in most of her roles, which is perfect, where she's not taking this shit seriously, where everyone else is freaking out during trials. She's like sitting around laughing about shit or whatever. I think you sent the text when you watched the episode, Andrew, when they all fly on the broomsticks and she does the cackle.
That was awesome. That was my favorite part.
Man, she's pitch perfect in this role. I'm thrilled. The design is so fucking cool too. The half skeleton thing is really neat.
That's well done.
They did her face like that. They've seen some behind the scenes where they really did a pretty cool job. I think it's touched up with CGI to make it look a little bit more sunken in and skull-like in appearance, but it's really, really cool. So big shout out to Aubrey Plaza for being awesome in this role. And now if they bring Thanos back, maybe he has, we understand why he simps for Death. We get it.
Thanos,
we all get it now.
I gotta say, yeah, man, I completely understand, my dude. Yeah.
And we understand why Agatha, maybe.
Yeah.
Has a little thing going on with Death
she
herself.
had it before her boy, though. She had a relationship with Death. Yeah, she had. Right. Yeah, which
she had a relationship with Death. Yeah,
we need to explore that further, I guess, because
that's the kind of thing. I'm like, you tease a lot of it, and I just wanted a little bit more, and you kind of left it for the next time, and I kind of would like it now, like to finish this series off. So,
bonus episode 10.
Yeah, it's just there was so many cool things that I really needed that last little bit of how it all ties together and give that satisfying conclusion for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, shout out to the Queen of Delaware, Aubrey Plaza.
True.
Yeah, great. No, she's a very attractive person, but also just really perfect for the role of Death. Just like who else could this be?
She's so zany,
Yeah.
Just the perfect sort of chaotic energy for
sure. Yeah,
for,
really sums
for the
it
role.
up.
Completely buy it. I mean, just watch Legion and just fucking
totally
eats that scenery.
Yeah. Man. Just letting Aubrey Plaza go for it is like, that's just fun to watch. That and to Andrew's earlier point of maybe Joe Locke not like, he's got the toughest role, man. He's got angsty teen. Like he gets a costume moment, which is pretty cool. Sort of undermined by the fact that he walks out of the house and then drives away in a fucking car, which was kind of funny.
I mean, that seemed very purposeful. I was just
like station wagon Subaru.
That was actually hilarious.
It was funny. But
quite funny.
Like all these other characters are like way more. They're way more kind of fun, almost by design. Like, I mean, Death. Like, how do you compete with Death? And even the other witches, I feel like all kind of had their own, I don't know, sort of fun, quirky personalities that
their own
contributed
vibe,
things, and they kind of each had like their own trial and stuff like that. So I think Billy, William, Teen, whatever, like kind of had the toughest role to kind of get woven through all of that. I mean, I liked him. I thought he was good. But I do think that like that as a role is a little tougher. The only real episode I think where he gets to kind of flex his chops a little bit and have a little bit more fun is the flashback episode where we get the William Kaplan backstory where he's effectively playing quite literally, I guess, a different character. Yeah. Before Billy kind of enters the body, and then you kind of have the weird sort of body horror-esque sort of thing of what is it like to be in someone's body and, know everyone around you're hearing thoughts from like your parents who are just worried sick about you, but they're not really worried about you. They're worried about someone that you are. Like, I don't know. I think that it kind of hit all those things pretty well and interestingly. So,
also just just nice parents,
the good parents.
Just
good parents. Nice, they like valid worries, valid concerns. Like
good parents.
They just want their son to be okay, totally respectable, totally valid, stances. And all right. What else do we want to talk about? Should we talk about maybe some of the trials themselves? Do we have any favorite trials? Anything that kind of stood out on those fronts?
Down the road. I like that Rock Band episode. I like that a lot.
The Rock Band.
Yeah, with the fucking good. Like it was very Tenacious D with the fucking demon up there at the top.
The demon showing up. I was like, this is cool. Now you were just having fun.
Yeah, that was joy. That episode was kind of elation because again, it's like the fun of playing with costumes and stuff like that in a way that makes the episode very distinct. But then, you got the banger of a song playing.
I tell you what, I really like the. I can't remember her name. She was the older witch. She was the clairvoyant one.
Lilia?
Yeah.
The one that's like, she's from like, I don't know, the Middle Ages or whatever. She was the queen of the tea leaves or...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I really like that episode where they explore her.
That was cool too, where it kind of had the non-linear narrative.
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
That was cool. That was like the way I think the way that whole episode was edited and kind of presented, I thought was really, really cool too, and enhanced kind of that experience of
definitely. I think that was a high point of the show was her episode for sure.
I co-sign that,
and it was good because it was kind of again seeded throughout of her saying weird shit out of context to people, and they're like, "Are you good? Like, what's wrong with you?" And I think to kind of see the payoff to that was kind of fun. It was like, oh, she's just spacey or whatever. But, to kind of see how she's experiencing time out of order sounds awful, first of all.
Could you imagine?
And appears awful. But like the way that it, and then it flashed back to like the young version of her and like Sicily, and she's having a conversation with her mother, as when she's, 400 plus years old was kind of a weird mindfucky sort of shit, but which was really, really cool.
How badass is her mom?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
She's like, no big deal. Yeah. How's it going? You doing okay down there? At the end,
like she must presumably her mom is like way older. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It makes you, I don't know. I just think about that. Like, her mom must experience the same thing, or presumably, I mean, she's training her, so she must have an idea of how she's experiencing time.
Right.
And so it's I think that's neat. Anyways, I thought that was a very, very cool episode.
Agreed.
Yeah. We got the wicked witch and all the, other kind of costumes in that one too, which was fun. Potions one was good.
Potions was cool.
They're all good. They're fun.
Yeah, Wicked
They're
Witch.
all fun.
No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
like
I think the 70s one was probably. Oh, Ouija board was good.
That was cool.
That was a good one.
That's kind of when I was like, oh yeah, this seems like something that Billy's thinking up, because it's just like why would this be the trial? That's kind of where I was like, So
you had
cool. And then you see
that...
especially when you see his room, it's just like, oh okay, now we're putting the pieces together.
Yeah. I feel like there were points. Well, so there was a couple things. I did have it spoiled for me before I even started the show that Death was in it, and I was pretty confident it was Aubrey Plaza,
I didn't know.
and that Joe Locke would be Wiccan, Billy Maximoff. Which I feel like the fact that they went to such lengths to hide who he was in the first place kind of just felt like, all right, fair enough. Like that's probably going to be twisty for people that aren't really following it too much, or really don't know the character all that well.
I think it worked.
But I think it worked. Yeah. I mean, I think it was one of those things where I kind of had that, like, those are the kind of things that when you watch it a second time, you would see those things differently. You would see these characters differently, read these characters differently, and way they're interacting with things differently. To me, I kind of had the joy of like, oh, okay, I think there's I see how this is supposed to play to a general audience who isn't really in on what's going on, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on here, and it's kind of interesting to read it in the way that, like, if you really know what's going on, it kind of takes on this different meaning, or it kind of has this sort of different impact, which I thought was kind of neat to experience it that way. Made me feel so cool that I was like, oh, I know everything. I'm like so smart. I figured this all out. I didn't figure it all out, but I was taken in by, the twists and turns, never quite like fully stunned. Honestly, I think maybe the most shocking moment was when they just straight up killed Mrs. Hart.
Oh,
I was pretty shocked by that, actually.
That
I was
was shocking.
That's pretty hardcore. They just fucking killed the human witch, and it's totally Agatha's fault.
But did you see that other cameo coming?
Oh, the other cameo.
Yeah, Mr. Our Boner,
Mr. Boner, Mr. Boner.
Mr. Boner.
I had heard about that, and I forgot that it was
the funniest
supposed to happen until it actually happened. I was like, oh yeah, here it is. This is a perfect Evan Peters cameo, which is great. I'm watching American Horror Story Coven right now, which is very witchy, and so there's a lot of synergy here. He's also in that. And that also has Patti LuPone in it as well. So I was like, I'm getting a lot of the same sorts of players and like different, similar but different types of settings, which is fun. Ralph Boner seems like he's going through it, man. He's having a rough go of it. Not even just because of his last name.
Not only did she take his house, she lowered the property value of it, man.
It's really fucked up, man. He's ruined.
As two homeowners, how do y'all feel about this? What she did?
I would be devastated. He's fake Quicksilver. He was the fake Quicksilver from
WandaVision. The one he meets in the parking garage.
Yeah.
Well, what's it? Why he's not quick? I thought it. Is he?
He was the fake Quicksilver in WandaVision.
Oh,
which is to say that he was the real Quicksilver in the X-Men universe, the Fox X-Men universe.
Okay,
and he was in Mayor of Easttown.
And he was in Mayor of Easttown.
It's
That's
just
true.
so much synergy there.
Detective so and so.
You know,
in, Mayor of Easttown. Yeah, no, it's good.
A lot there.
Put Evan Peters in more things. It's fine with me. He's gonna be in Tron. He's gonna be in that Tron movie. Unfortunately, he's not the main character, even though that would be better.
I can't wait.
All right, we exhausted our spoilerific thoughts on Agatha All Along. Do we have anything else to get into here?
Yeah, it's a pretty cool show.
Fun. I enjoyed it.
I had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing where the story goes with these characters. Where's Tommy? We'll find out. He's out there somewhere. He's going to be in that drowned kid's body. So.
Wow.
Oh, what a terrible place to wake up. Jesus. Kids die every day.
Yeah. Who do they cast for Tommy? Like, I don't know. I mean, could go a few different interesting directions with all that. So curious to see how that all goes. Is Wanda dead? Really? I mean, maybe
they
temporarily.
Very much were like,
I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on with their kids. I think that, the Scarlet Witch is a very powerful character. I think that we will see the return of. And to be honest, if it kind of undoes the events of Multiverse of Madness, I won't be that mad about it. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting story to come, which I think serves the greater point of this doesn't wrap it all up in the nice, neat bow, or even just a bow, even if it's not nice and neat, in a way that you might want it to, in terms of treating it as its own self-contained. But I guess, in theory, if the Vision Quest, whatever, kind of pays it off, then maybe seeing these three, WandaVision, Agatha, and Vision kind of all together could be a really cool, like, unofficial but sort of official, like, TV trilogy. Like, that's kind of a unique sort of thing. Three different television shows tying together in such a way. So,
is Jack Schaefer involved in the Vision show at all? Do you know?
I don't think so. Yeah. So that maybe sparks some concern.
That's my only
she's
thing.
Clearly got a finger on the pulse of these characters particularly, and I think that certainly this show has a lot of commonalities in terms of tone and feel with WandaVision in a way that I may not expect the Vision one to have, because it's such a kind of different type of character and maybe potential story of where it's going. So yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Or maybe I don't know. I think they've even teased the idea that maybe there's a season 2 of Agatha All Along that happens too. So, so maybe it won't be a trilogy. It'll be a quadrilogy, which is a made up word, but I'm using it. But I guess all.
I think that goes. Right? So. I think that goes to these television shows. I think are very much dependent on the creatives behind it.
Very much
and
so. Yes.
This is not on the same level, but I'm just picturing other Disney Plus properties and thinking of Andor 2 coming out soon. And it's like, well, if Tony Gilroy's doing that, then I'm all on board. Like, it's just, I think it matters a lot on like who the creatives are. And I think Jack Schaefer has shown that she has what it takes to create good television shows. She's done it twice. And so I think Marvel should really, because they do like to take these creators and writers,
they work with the same people,
and kind of promote them up. I think she's certainly shown what she can do, and I think this is definitely one person I would like to have more stories from in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Scarlet Witch movie. Who says no?
Yeah, or even
an
something
actual
unrelated, right? Like
where she's not a mindless villain.
Right, like Michael Waldron was kind of just like floating from different properties to like Avengers movies and other things. So it's just like, I think you get people that can work with characters and have them play with other characters too if needed. So I think a lot of the credit that I give to this show probably falls on
I think
cast,
that
on Jack Schaefer.
Again. Sorry, didn't mean to totally cut you off there. I think it goes to the point of sort of what we talked about with my little fun fact. It's like, this idea of, well, we did it practically. And it's like, yeah, you did that practically because you spent the time figuring out what the hell you wanted to do, writing what you wanted to do, making the sets for what you wanted to do, and then filming the thing you wanted to make. Like,
that's how it should be,
reason,
right? Like
for whatever reason, that's kind of been a lost art, for Marvel in terms of their movie making. Is it's just flying by the seat of their pants because they've got a release date they've got to make it by. They've got CG that's due by a deadline, but we don't like this. We're going to change this. And even like Brave New World, like looks fun, looks cool. I think we're going to probably enjoy it, but had extensive reshoots. It seems like it's kind of gotten reconfigured a few times. And something like this, it's like kind of proof positive that obviously on like a small scale, if you really just kind of plan it out, have a creator who has a vision for it, a vision for vision would be fun. Like it could totally work. It's really just, it's the same thing like with James Gunn with his stuff, like he's like, with Guardians, all the Guardians movies, with the Suicide Squad. It's like, he's a guy that puts his all into it before he even, steps foot on set and starts directing. Like he's got it all figured out. And like, that's really, I think the key is like, if it means 2 movies versus 3 in a year, if it means 2 shows versus 3 or 3 versus 4, like, I don't know. That to me seems like it's a sacrifice worth making. If you're going to save yourself money because you can actually do the shit right instead of just making shit up and having it kind of look like dog shit CGI, that you're pumping out last minute. Like, I don't know, man. I know it's not crazy and it's just how things have been made traditionally for a long, long time. But it seems like it kind of things drifted away from that. It's not just Marvel, DC is generally guilty of that too, James Gunn aside. So it's like, just think about it, figure out what you want to do it right the first time, and maybe you got to tinker with it as you go, but in the end of the day, like, you should know what you're trying to make and setting out to make, and should be able to realize that vision, so anyway, that's my thoughts on it. And my final thought, which I'm truly my final thought, and then we will be done. I think in comparison to something like Echo, which is kind of a similar thing of who asked for this, no one asked for this, do I care about this character, blah, 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 low budget sort of thing. I thought this was leaps and bounds better than something like Echo.
Yeah,
it was, for sure. I agree.
I liked and enjoyed, but this to me just felt like a tighter, more rich experience than Echo did. So
did not feel to me like a Loki though.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, Loki is pretty.
So that's
pretty up there stuff.
So when we talk about these ratings, Loki is my high point.
Okay.
And what would my low point be for Marvel?
TV size. Yeah, Secret Invasion's probably low.
Secret Invasion is lowest, right? So obviously it's not Secret Invasions, but for me it's not Loki. You know, Loki's a different tier. So that's where I landed for the ratings.
No, I think it's not quite there for me, but it was closer to that than others. But
all right, so there we have it, Agatha All Along. Those are indeed my final thoughts. I'm leaving it there, and we're moving on to the next section, catching up. Henrique, when's the last time we heard from you? Did we see any?
I think it's been
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, that was
which
July
came out
time.
As an episode pretty recently, but we recorded it like 2 months before it actually dropped on the regular feed.
Right.
So yes, it's been a few months. So how's everything going for you? What have you been up to?
No, I was trying to think of what came before, what came after, but definitely just some things and some recommendations tied into that too. But one big thing was running my first, maybe only, but definitely first marathon a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
Down in DC, Arlington, Virginia, the Marine Corps Marathon, which is super cool, by the way, because the volunteers at the race are Marines. So I think that was just really neat. And sometimes when you start going, you're like, this is kind of hard. And you're like, well, they probably do a lot harder things than I'm doing now. So it puts it into perspective. But super cool. I think it was something that a couple years ago I didn't think that I could do. And it just took a lot of preparation and just kind of putting feet on the ground and moving
one in front of the other
back and forth. And I by no means ran this very fast at all, but
you finished it, didn't you?
My goal was just to kind of keep running the whole time. I took one bathroom break, and that was really the only break. And when you gotta go, you gotta go. And
I'd piss myself if I ran like that, for sure.
You think about that, and it's just
no one would know.
You can, but like, you just don't want to be running.
It's just sweat. It's just sweat, dude.
Yeah,
why does it smell like this? I don't know.
Time running your own piss. It was like 40 something degrees, so it's not melting. It's just staying with you.
Keep you warm.
Yeah, I don't know.
There are benefits.
I wouldn't recommend pissing yourself, but and I wouldn't necessarily put this as a recommendation to go run a marathon. But I think it was a neat experience to do something that was hard and out of my comfort. Wow. So I think just every
the good
once
news
in a while,
is, even if you were recommending it, it would not be a recommendation followed by either Andrew or myself. I could pretty much guarantee.
That is
no, and I don't think it's
so remotely far from comft zone, but it's unattainable.
I think there is something
it's fucking awesome. I mean, I'm impressed by anyone that does it, by you, but it's. It is not anything that really.
I think there is something to like just doing something that you're not comfortable with and like preparing for it. So
that's true.
I would. That's my kind of recommendation with it. So whether that's running, I think the nice thing about running itself is that there's like a clear goal and something that you train for. And I've kind of missed not having sports as an adult, and I want to go back into like tennis and maybe some other things. But there's
a little bit of a void of sorts.
Yeah, and like you can jog and you can.
I miss the competitiveness of sports. But there's somebody that's probably bigger and better than you, and you can't attack it. I do miss that.
Andrew misses putting on the number 69 jersey and long snapping the shit out of that football.
Just going for it, man. But like, no, I think there is something to that. And like, we played a lot of sports as a kid, like do things in this competition, and then you lose that a little bit as an adult. And the nice thing about
kind of work and
running,
watching Agatha All Along at home.
You can kind of just do it against yourself. Like you could sure you can go and try to be the fastest person if you can run like a sprint for 2 hours and go ahead. But I think most people are just trying to compare themselves to themselves and like get better each time. And I think that's kind of a neat thing where you just really try to beat yourself. You're not really necessarily competing against other people, although you can, and sometimes it's a little bit smaller. That makes sense, but it's a little bit of just like a internal I just want to do better.
I don't know. I felt
reach this goal.
Like it's like working out. I can't go to the gym by myself. Like working up against myself. See, that's the thing.
I think eventually,
difficult.
like if you're working out towards something, then there's a little bit more to it. Whereas like if you're running to get to a certain goal, then there's just that extra motivation. Whether it's like I'm just here and I could stop at any time. You know,
I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard. It's hard for me, anyways. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Having somebody drive you, I think, is easier for myself.
Yeah, and that was I definitely ran this with a good friend of mine, so we pushed each other along, and I would certainly recommend that if you're not into it. But I you could say a raw dog one race before where I just like ran without anybody, no music, just not even water, just
Jesus Christ,
and wouldn't recommend it. I think it's more fun if you do with other people or do something while you're going along. But I have a half in a couple days, so we'll see if my body.
You fucking madman! You just ran. You just did
it.
Maybe the half will feel.
It's just how
like
it's just half the distance. You know,
you're addicted.
Like
you're addicted to it. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's the last one for the year, and then we'll see from there.
Well, then you're going to start running in Florida because you can't breathe up north, you know?
Well, no, if anything, it's a little cool air is kind of nice. But no, it was a cool experience, and I don't know. I'll probably do one more again at some point, but no specific plans.
We'll Sarah's grandfather actually was a he did triathlons or Ironmans, I think is what he did. Rode bicycles. Does those, yeah. So maybe that's what you can get into. Swimming and
that's wild. We'll see. But yeah. I kind of picked it up like in the last couple years. I did a little bit in med school, but didn't start doing more until like the past like 2 or 3 years. So it's definitely something just kind of build into it. But sort of fun with a caveat, you know, of pain in there too. But experience.
Healthy dose, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know. Well, congrats on doing it though. That's really
incredible. It really is incredible.
It felt good to finish, and it was a cool race, cool place. You know,
makes me feel like a lazy sack of shit, and I just can't.
No, you just go out and like you do a little bit, and then you go from there. But I think since we last spoke, I had a couple concerts that were pretty fun. Just trying to enjoy the summer, early fall. I saw Lake Street Dive for the first time at the Man, which was a pretty cool experience. Just very funky, just, you know, music you can listen to, have a good time. The Green Day concert with Smashing Pumpkins was in August as well at Citizens Bank Park, which was cool. Kind of a rainy day, but they were playing American Idiot and Dookie in their entirety, and those were like the 2 albums that I actually know from Green Day. So I was like, yeah, well, good opportunity. And then Vampire Weekend as well. That's quite a good show. I really liked. They kind of have tiers to their show. They start off as just the 3 kind of core members, and then expand to like the full rotating band, and then even start just taking requests at the end. So within that, my recommendation was
band of the latest stature.
The latest Vampire Weekend album, Only God Was Above Us. That's quite a fun one. We just picked it up on vinyl. And no, that was a lot. Haven't watched a whole ton of movies. Did watch The Winter Soldier before the race because it was in DC, so I thought that was kind of fitting, and just wanted to.
You just wanted to see how many times you could stay on your left as you're.
Yeah, and I did run with my Captain America shirt in DC,
nice.
which just felt really cool, and I passed at least one person on the left. So that's that.
Did you say
not at Captain American speed? No, it's kind of. But
don't say it.
Don't say it. And I'm not. This is a very light recommendation, but just kind of something that we did. We watched the latest M. Night Shyamalan movie, Trap.
Oh yeah, I heard that was a banger, dude.
I mean, if you like Shyamalan, I think this is Shyamalan. This is M. Night. This is This is his thing. Like, I think if you like his other movies, in that sensibility, you'll probably enjoy this.
See
if
Anna
you're not a
back there. Sorry,
but yeah, no. Have either of you two seen this one? Or
I have not seen Trap. I've heard a bit about it. I'm like intrigued, but it's like also
it's not the greatest movie of the year by any means. I'd say I've mostly enjoyed it. Not perfect, but
like it's Josh Hartnett in the lead is kind of fun.
Josh Hartnett was quite good in it. I gotta say, he was the one. I'm just like, oh yeah, like you're doing both of these, and yeah, it's M. Night.
It's got M. Night's daughter in it.
It's M. Night.
She has a relatively prominent role.
I want to watch that one where they were like getting old on the beach. You seen that one?
I did not see
Old. The beach that makes you old.
Is it called Old?
Yeah, it's called Old.
Fucking M. Night, dude. Was it good?
The other one.
Did you watch it?
What was the one? Knock at the Cabin. Was it last year? I didn't see that one either.
Oh yeah.
I've been off the M. Night train since Glass.
I heard more negative things about those.
Sucked.
So I don't know. It's not top tier cinema. It's M. Night.
But was it entertaining? Did you have fun with it?
I mostly enjoyed it, I will say.
Did you regret your time with it? Because I think that's maybe a solid metric
it was totally fine.
If
we're gonna
that's cool. It's a good streamer. Would you say it's a streamer? Netflix streamer?
Yeah.
You didn't need to see it in theaters, right? But
if you we watched it on. I think we rented it on Amazon with a bunch of credits. So if you got nothing else to do, just put it on.
I think it is on something. It's Max or something. I think it's like fully streaming now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, why not? No.
All right.
The worst things you could do. And
what else do you got? Anything else?
Haven't
TV shows, movies?
Not a whole ton of TV shows, old animes and things like that. I did pick up a Kindle. Okay. That was new. I've never had a Kindle. And it's pretty great. It's so portable. It's just, you got a gajillion books in it. It's great for, my recommendation with that is, it's great for manga.
Oh, okay.
Been reading manga. And then turns out that libraries are still a thing. I think everyone else has realized this, but I was late to the game. Libraries are now digital, and you can just borrow stuff online. Yeah. So I have a library card, and I finished. So I'm one of the manga I'm reading right now is the Dragon Ball Super stuff that goes past the anime. So then I just borrow it from the library digitally. I read it, I return it, and I get the next one.
What?
For free. Yeah.
Wow.
How does that fucking work? A digital library?
It's a library, and it's just
just
you get a library card and you just check out things digitally. You can get audiobooks. Like, I know a lot of people have been on libraries.
Yeah, I mean, I know with the library, like the only. It's kind of silly, but there is like a limitation to like how many digital copies they can have of one thing.
Yes,
like obviously like physical books, you'd have 10 physical books in the library system. How do
you obtain a digital copy rental?
It's so easy. You get this app. It's called Libby. You just get your library account updated. You find the book that you want or the movie. Now they have movies and
they got movies.
Things. Yeah, they got all sorts of stuff.
Oh, you may not have access to all of this in Florida because they don't
have books there
because books are discouraged.
Can I get a library card for up north?
Now you got to live
if you
here.
Can prove
you got to pay
residency.
your taxes.
Fuck.
And then you just get like the Kindle version, and then you download it, and then it downloads to your Kindle, and then you read it.
That's incredible, guys! Wow.
Right.
To be fair, there probably is some sort of something that you could do down there. I don't know if it's as robust as Philly's library system is, but
Pasco.
There's probably something.
County. Yeah.
Fucking tax dollars at work there, dude. That's nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
So shout out to the Public Library of Philadelphia.
Yeah. No. Good stuff. They have video games now too that you can.
Right.
You have to physically get those, but you can do it. That's how I got turned on to Midnight Suns. I got obsessed with it. And I returned to the library version and just bought my own copy of it. So.
There you go. It's like a Blockbuster.
Exactly. Kind of.
But even for free. Even better.
Yeah. Anything else for you?
No, man, that's it. Yeah.
All right. All right, Andrew. What about you? What's been going on past?
I tell you
weeks?
what happened the past couple of weeks. I went up to fucking Philadelphia. I didn't go to the library.
Oh, yeah, we didn't take you to the library. We could have. You didn't ask to.
We walked by the place where you can learn to read. I can't remember what that place is called, but we walked by it.
The scrapyard store?
No, it was like it was like a big building on the way to breakfast one day.
I think
you did. You walked. That is a library.
We did walk past a library.
Is that a library?
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a branch of the library system.
That's pretty cool.
South Philly Library.
So Sarah and little baby B, we took a trip up to Philly to visit and to see Colton's new home and to visit Henrique, and it was a most excellent, very quick trip. Frontier Airlines. This will be a staple of Watch, Review, Repeat. We're going on record on the internet.
It's on the record now. So
Frontier Airlines
that you're about to say,
and their support. I'm not going to say all of Frontier Airlines because all of Frontier Airlines is not. It's not the same, but the Frontier Airlines at the Philadelphia airport is shit. Is very, very, very shit. So shit, in fact, that I hope that Henrique moves to Delaware so I never have to fly into Philadelphia again.
Honestly,
in fact, I might fly into Delaware Airport.
You should do it anyway.
Regardless. Exactly.
They do have a Tampa to Wilmington.
Honestly, the Philly airport is, I think, probably my least favorite airport of all time. And it's not just Frontier. I think Southwest is the only company where we've actually had nice people, but like American, like everyone's just a fucking asshole. Just a fucking asshole.
It's remarkable
regardless
to me
of what you need, what you want, how you go about saying it, nice, mean, whatever, everyone's just a fucking dick to you. And for whatever reason, that's just the way it is. It's like, oh, it's Philly. We're supposed to, that's their reputation.
How are they employed?
It's like,
right?
The city is not really like that, but the airport is. And that's like everyone's, it's like coloring everyone's impression of what the city of Philadelphia is actually like. It's like,
it actually does a little bit, to be honest with you.
It's you get greeted with assholery, you leave with assholery, and so that's what you remember,
It's remarkable. It's like the people that can't get employed anywhere else go to the airport to get a job.
I don't know what it is.
It's pretty fucked.
They're
Anyways,
all just fucking miserable.
So I will next time. Hopefully, one of you will pick me up from maybe Delaware instead.
It's not that far.
Yeah.
It's not that far.
Because I will tell you, I honestly don't think. I honestly have no desire to fly through that fucking airport again. It is the worst airport. It's very convenient.
I avoided it whenever possible. So
I will say that the convenience factor, I know that it's more convenient for you guys to pick me up from that airport, but I will pay the gas to have you guys pick me up.
You'll probably also have to pay the ticket price to get, because it's probably more expensive to go to Wilmington in the first place. But
fuck, I don't know. We haven't looked into it.
No, it's like
maybe not. Maybe the Tampa
one. I haven't tried.
Either way, that airport sucks ass. It's terrible. We played some Rock Band. That was fun. We drank some excellent brewskis. That was very good. It was just very nice to see you guys and your families. It was just very, very refreshing to see you guys.
Little escape from Florida, right?
It is a little escape from Florida.
Different slice of life.
It's a different slice of life, and you guys have some good food and this and that. But overall, I will honestly say, I miss you both very much. Every time I'm away, when you get here, it's just nice to see you. And then whenever we don't travel up there very often, but when we do, it's just very nice to see you and spend time in good company. You guys are among my best friends, and I don't know. I love you dearly, and it's just nice to spend time with good people, right? So, yeah, it was an excellent trip. We should make it more often.
It's obviously
maybe a different airport,
not close. Different airport, different airline at a minimum. Definitely no Frontier. Wish it was a little closer, but it's at the same time, it's not It's a few hour flight, so it's not.
It's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just it's more of the idea that it cost us like $1,000 to get up there.
It's tough too, because and by the time you guys got in and left, it was probably less than 48 hours altogether.
Yeah,
so
that's quick.
It's a quick trip. It's a lot that goes into it.
Next time you come up, we'll do a beer and cheesesteak.
There it is. Because it does go by. Colton, you have a lovely home.
Thank you.
Very
cool.
Anna decorated most of it, so you got to give her credit for most of it. I consulted and approved most of the design choices, but I didn't really actually have much, input otherwise.
And Philly's a really cool city. All of it's fantastic. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Enrique, you have a lovely home as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. It was great. It was great having you. It was great seeing the fam. We legitimately hadn't seen Baby B since.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Week 1.
Oh, wow.
No kidding. We saw him when he was 4 days old.
So he'd grown a little bit.
I hadn't seen him in person since then.
For real? Hadn't been that long?
Because,
wow.
The last couple times.
He wasn't walking the last time I saw him, but he was definitely older than. I mean, he was still. He was
close.
A few months ago.
Last couple of times,
right?
We didn't see him when we were in Florida.
Yeah, he's running around all over the place now.
Yeah, running around, throwing pumpkins and shit, smashing pumpkins.
He did smash a pumpkin. That little son of a
band.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's a good time. It's very good. We played some Rock Band. That was fun. Drank some good beers. That was cool. And yeah, I don't know. It's a good time. Yeah. I've started doing something here.
Probably bought more Magic the Gathering cards if I had to guess.
I did buy some Magic the Gathering cards. I have quite the collection.
You bought some up here. I don't know if you got any good ones though.
I actually think I left those in your car.
Oh shit! Did you not even open that pack?
No, it was not worth my time. I left them in your car.
Oh, okay.
You could probably find them in the passenger door.
All right, you're trying to start a.
We're gonna start your collection. That's what I was trying to do.
Backdoor starting a collection for me.
You already started the vinyl collection. So that's
true.
Slippery slope.
Created a monster in one way.
What else has happened? I know that something else is. I've started watching something. Lord of the Rings. I finished it. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
How was season 2 of The Rings of Power?
When you want to visit something fantasy, visit it.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. It'll probably scratch an itch, but it's not the be all end all. You know what I mean? It's not the best.
When you start your review with, then that kind of tells me everything I need to know.
It's whatever. I did start Percy Jackson, The Lightning Thief on audiobook.
Disney? Oh, the audiobook.
The proper book. Yeah. Well.
Yep. And then Colton got me that for, I don't know, I think it was like Christmas or my birthday or something, and I finally started.
Nice.
So I'm a couple chapters into that. I finished the third book of the the hell is it called, Enrique? You told me to read it.
The 3-body problem, Remembrance of Earth's Past.
Remembrance of Earth's Past. I finished that. That gets it stays in its lane. I feel like for most of the series, and then I don't know, the last bit of the third book, it gets derailed fucking hard. It just
it was interesting though. I think
it was. Yeah, I don't mean
got
that
very
as
sci-fi.
It got very sci-fi. It went from hard sci-fi to just sci-fi. In the last bit of the book, so it's cool. You got to wrap it up in some way, and I mean that's how they chose to wrap it up, and that's cool. But it felt detached from, it just didn't feel as conjoined to the rest of everything else that's been part of the series, because it went out there so fast, so hard. What else did I do? I think that might be it. And I can't think of anything else right now. So,
all right, it hasn't been ages since we recorded, so nothing crazy. And you spent a weekend of that up here, which was fun. I don't have a lot on my end. I finished the first season of Only Murders in the Building. I don't know if I've talked about it at all on the pod. The fourth season, I think, is the most recent one that came out a few months ago, or at least I think it wrapped up pretty recently, maybe within the past month or two. So I'm still very behind on that. But I'd been kind of slowly working my way through that first season, which is great. It's really, really good. Would definitely recommend it. It's on Hulu, I guess, / Disney Plus now. Great cast chemistry. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. Fun, kind of riff on podcast sort of thing, which is, very meta and enjoyable. But yeah, no, would definitely recommend season 1. I've heard very good things about the other seasons. I think Anna had watched season 1 already, started season 2, so I think, I don't think we're going to jump right into it right away, but I think we'll start watching season 2 together at some point. Probably at some point, we'll say. But looking forward to that. Would recommend at least the first season. Definitely very, very enjoyable. Very funny show. I started the Terminator Zero anime on Netflix.
What the fuck is that? Terminator Zero?
Terminator Zero. It's like it's a fucking Terminator anime. I don't really think there's a better way to describe it.
That sounds incredible. Is it good?
I think 3 episodes in. It's cool so far, but it's kind of just a Terminator with like anime stylings. In terms of story, like it's not offering anything too different from what you get out of a traditional Terminator story of, someone's getting hunted and so a Terminator gets sent back in time and a resistance fighter gets sent back in time. I think the biggest difference is it's set in Japan. So, there's that. It's kind of a weird thing. I think it's like an American-made show or American-written show. It's Mattson Tomlin who developed it, who co-wrote, I think, The Batman, and is co-writing The Batman Part 2. It's maybe something else, or maybe this is literally just what I'm thinking of. So, like, all the scripts and stuff were written in English, but then it was translated to Japanese. The actual animation is done by a Japanese company, and, like, the actual story itself takes place in Japan, or at least the present-day stuff, or I guess not present-day, 1997 stuff takes place in Japan. So it's different in that particular way. But it's a pretty good English voice cast. Andre Holland, Sonoya Mizuno, I think Timothy Oliphant plays the Terminator, and Rosario Dawson plays the AI. But I've been following my Studio Ghibli rule, which is like if something is set in Japan and like it's depicting Japanese characters, I find it jarring to watch in English typically.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to it with the Japanese voice cast with subs, and I'm enjoying it that way. I think it's talented English voice actors. I felt like it didn't mesh with like what I was watching, so I switched and I've been enjoying it in Japanese a lot more. 8 episodes, 30 minutes a piece, so it's pretty short. Like I said, so far it's really just kind of Terminator-y sort of things. Nothing too groundbreaking, but interesting to kind of see and see where it goes. It's definitely more anime than your traditional Terminator in terms of like what it's going for, but the story is kind of just all kind of pretty the same beats so far. That. So
sounds cool.
So it's cool. I'm enjoying it. We'll probably finish it at some point. It's me watching it. It's not a household watching sort of thing. So I watch it where I have time. And then started a game called Metroid Dread, just because I was just kind of feeling something.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. I beat that one.
I played Darkest Dungeon and it wasn't scratching the right itch for me at the time. I might go back to it at some point, but Metroid Dread kind of felt right. And I just started it and I was like, oh yeah, this is it. This is kind of what I wanted to play. I'm not super far in it. Probably only put like an hour or 2 in it, but it's really cool. It's a Metroid game, through and through. Nice 2D, proper Metroid game. I enjoy the Prime games. Looking forward to Prime 4 coming out in 7 years on the Switch 3, but this is really cool. Really enjoying it so far. Kicking my ass in a couple points. It's got the things where you have to like evade the robots and stuff like that, and the little segments. But I just want the damn morph ball or whatever too. I don't have that yet, and I can see points where I'm like, oh, I know how to get in there, but I can't. So I guess I'll just go fuck myself and go do something else. So,
classic Metroid deal.
Classic Metroid deal. Yeah, no, it feels very classic Metroid with a nice coat of paint, nice 3D coat of paint. So enjoying it. We'll keep playing it. And that's it. I think that's all I had on my list. The rest of my time I watched Agatha All Along. So there you go. I do want to watch The Penguin. I haven't watched any of The Penguin, but I really do want to watch that.
Yes, I do want to watch that too.
That's it for now of things I've been put any sort of significant period of time into so far. So I'm going to wrap it up unless anyone has remembered something that they forgot to mention earlier. I think maybe it's a good time to wrap it up. Okay. Well, in that case, thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, spread the word. We are on Patreon at patreon.com/Watch Review Repeat if you want to get early access to all of our regular episodes like this one, as well as timed exclusive access to any future bonus episodes that we work on. Probably not any before the end of the year at this point. I think we've got a few projects before the end of the year, and we'll reset over the holidays. But, come 2025, I think maybe we can cook up some bonus episodes. Seems doable. So, it's only $2 a month. It's worth it for the early access to the regular episodes. As I said with that Deadpool episode, it literally took me, and again, it was because it was moving and a lot of shit was going on in my life. But it took a long, long time for that to make it from the Patreon feed to the regular feed. So if you really want to be, the first to hear, the latest from us, Patreon's the way to go. Otherwise, if you need anything in terms of our podcast, our website's watchreviewrepeat.com. You can get links to all of our episodes there, past episodes, get links to our social media accounts that we're on. We're on Twitter for now at WRRPod. Maybe migrating to Blue Sky shortly, but I haven't set it up yet, so nothing to share on that front. We're on Instagram at Watch Review Repeat. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Watch Review Repeat. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, didn't have a listener's corner in this episode. I don't think there was really anything to get into, but if you've you watched Agatha, have some thoughts. If you've watched anything, have some thoughts. Send your thoughts our way. watchreviewrepeat@gmail.com. Intro and outro track, it's Mechanolith by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under the Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0 license. We haven't... before we get into that, I have to say thank you, of course, to Henrique Jaime for joining us. Obviously,
thanks, gentlemen.
We greatly enjoy having you on for obviously these Marvel-centric episodes and stuff like that, and clearly kept the news pretty Marvel-centric since it was relevant to your interests. But I threw a Dune in there. So that we'd have a little diversity, which was good.
I liked it. Liked it all. Or not Kraven, but...
Well, yeah, I did that just to see if I could rile you up a little bit. It worked. Could have enough. No, but genuinely, seriously, thank you. It's a blast having you on here.
Thanks for having me.
We got What If right around the corner, as we now know. So so we might be seeing you before long. You can always join us for other, non-Marvel things too, but that requires Andrew and I to record on a regular basis, which we're getting better at, but we're not perfect at. So, for our next episode, we haven't specifically talked to Andrew and I, but in terms of big releases around the corner, we've got Gladiator 2, which I mentioned obviously a little bit earlier in this episode. I think is certainly on our radar. We did a bonus episode on the first one. Is the second one going to be much different or just kind of a rehash of the first one? I don't know, but it could be entertaining. We could be entertained. We could not be entertained potentially by Gladiator 2 as well. But we could talk about that. I think Wicked's around the corner. I'm not really super.
Will that be entertained?
Myself.
Will you be entertained by Wicked?
I expect that I will not be terribly entertained by Wicked, but maybe reviews would convince me otherwise to at least give it a chance. I'm definitely in on Moana 2. I am very interested in seeing that. So we've got like a few things kind of throughout the end of November that we'll probably talk about at least one of those things, I would guess. Might take a theater trip for Andrew if we can convince him, if we can get him there.
One of those.
We'll figure out which one.
Yes.
One of those. Probably not all three. Probably not even two. Maybe two. Two might be a stretch. We'll see. He's got to save himself for Nosferatu on Christmas Day, of course. So
that's going to be an argument.
But hey, we'll figure it out. We had Agatha. Maybe we'll binge 8 episodes of Penguin and talk about that instead. Probably not, but we could. But we'll figure it out. So stay tuned. We'll have something probably. We'll probably record again before the end of November at least, and have something for everyone to enjoy. So thank you again, Henrique, and Andrew. I think you can take everyone out.
Take care now. Bye bye then.
Laters on the Menjay.